on Warchant TV on the YouTube channel. Thanks to everybody in the chat who has their own discussion and they ask questions, and I love it. I love the interaction. I love the many ways, whether it's pod or video or radio, that we're able to reach you. And now here we go, all together on this ride. It is game week. Whew. That was fun over the weekend. Did you get to take in a little? I take it you did not leave town based on our interactions, Tom, but you watched a lot of football over the weekend, did you?
I did. I enjoyed every little morsel of it. I walked away very impressed with Western Kentucky's offensive skill position players. They got a couple of really good players, and they've got an easy schedule. I'm looking forward to betting Western Kentucky team total overs, but not even for betting purposes. Stanford, Hawaii, even though you couldn't get it locally, I had to pirate it for about a half of football.
I pirated it too.
Yep, I found a way.
I did too.
And, of course, Farmageddon was an extremely entertaining game.
Second half was a lot better than the first.
I think there's some poor coaching in there. There's some sloppiness for a week one game across the board, but it was a great bit of 3 hours of fun. They treated us to a good one.
Well, I especially liked it since I took Iowa State plus the points, and I had Iowa State, Kansas State at the under. We're off to a riveting start. You'll note that the Bears won, as I told you they would in the third hour the other day, as well as the Ravens, who, if you're going to tee it up and play preseason football, they're just going to go ahead and win that game. We parlayed a perfect weekend in the gambling.
I followed your lead with Iowa State at the half.
A little late, sir.
I know, but I still got 3.5 at that point. And I could put him on the money line at plus 145, plus 160, something along those lines, because Kansas State's quarterback play was enough for me to say, nope, I don't like that. Not very much.
Well, the completion of the forward pass is difficult for him.
Yeah, and also he shows his rear end a lot, and that's what they were trying to say kindly during the broadcast. They really wanted him to be a more vocal leader. That's something they've been pressing for this young man to do. And then they had the sideline report where he was doing just that, and he tried to throw a pick on the next pass. I was like, ooh, you know what? I think Kansas State's better, but coached worse. So I'm going to bet Iowa State here at half. And so I followed your lead.
Check the in and out nature of the audio. Chat is worried about our audio. I don't know if that's real or not. But it's just something to look at the outset. Here's game week. We got to try to make sure everything is on the up and up and ready to go. So the news of the day, now, listen, I'll go back and look at that weekend that was. Right now, somewhere your favorite NFL football team is busy cutting people because they got to get down to 53 by tomorrow. So that's happening. We've got, of course, what just took place over the weekend in the return of college football. Good times. And now it's Florida State time. Now it's time to get it on. Mike Norvell met with the press today. I've got takeaways from the depth chart. It's interesting how much you read into the depth chart. There's certainly, I think, confirmation of what we've been talking about, which this was a camp that did not feature the sort of you were a starter a year ago, thus you have a leg up on everybody else mentality. Not at all. This was, guys, it was such a disaster a year ago, coupled with the fact that I brought in two new coordinators, or at least I should say an offensive and defense coordinator. There's more coaches than that were brought in. And it's a contest. We're going to see what's what. And we're going to find out who's going to match the intensity and focus and day-to-day what for that I need to get out of you that, simply put, wasn't there a year ago. I'm coaching for my job. He didn't quite say that, but, of course, we know that to be the case. And you're seeing that in the depth chart. I spent a lot of time over the weekend looking at this defense because, of course, that is my concern is, how are you going to match up physically with Alabama? And I wanted to know who he was going to tab to do so. Because I feel like Tony, Tom, Gus too, obviously on the offensive side, but Tony more so, because I think with Gus, look, you brought Tommy Castellanos into play. He was not coming here to sit the bench. So your most important position was already taken care of with who you chose to bring in and why, right? So your quarterback was a set it and forget it. It had nothing to do with what Gus wanted to do, meaning that it wasn't going to be a case where, well, let's find out, who of these four guys are the quarterback. That's the way it was at safety. That's the way it was, on the defensive side of the ball in a lot of places. But that's not the way it was on the offensive side of the ball, certainly not a quarterback. Okay, so check. Then you look at running back, which we knew it was a big room, right? It's a stacked room, mixed bag. You kind of offensively, there's some things you love, like the potential of a Usman Kroma. And there's obviously the intrigue of a Sawchuk who's done it at a high level and had stretches of sustained success at Oklahoma. So would he be the guy? Roy Dell's been playing college football since I was 10. So you're thinking, well, you got a veteran, you got a guy who, was battling a lot of different things a year ago. Would they lean on him? Jalen Lucas is back from injury. What do we have with him? And so I don't know how much stock I put in that depth chart of Roydell Williams or Gavin Sawchuk. Whatever, right? I mean, the other part of that is they basically list the 4 guys that we expect are going to get touches.
Yeah, one of which being more of a gadget player in Lucas. Right. And they wanted to keep Kroma out of the bold, which is what indicates a starting level player. That's a little bit of rope-a-dope, I'm thinking, and I think you agree with that.
I do. So no surprise about Randy Pittman Jr., who I thought was going to be the most relied upon guy that came over from UCF because of the way Gus used him there and because of what he represents and who he is and his versatility. No surprise to see Randy Pittman there. Nice to hear that Landon Thomas is back healthy. You already knew the versatility of Amari Williams. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw all those guys. So that's the one thing to say about that room is that it is interesting. Chase Lofton, who was in the tight end room, is not in the tight end room anymore. He's in the wide receiver room. That's probably the thing that stood out the most when you took your cursory glance at that and you went, oh, okay, that's interesting. Again, the way they use receivers and tight ends in this offense, it's a little different.
Last we heard, he was working with both rooms. This makes sense. Mike Norvell spoke to that today, saying he loves what they have in the room right now. So
Correct.
It doesn't mean that Lofton is forever more a wide receiver. It just means for this set of skill position players on the 2025 roster, he's not large enough yet to play tight end, but he's got such good receiving skills, they got to get him out there, or at least in the mix to get out there.
Well, it's a mismatch because he's 6'6". You want to put that kind of a player on the field in some capacity. So you're right. That's how that works. Your starting receivers are Deuce Robinson, Squirrel White, and Javon Boggs. It's pretty amazing to think that that Boggs has come in here as a freshman and secured that spot.
Yeah, I'm laughing because it's wire to wire, essentially. A true freshman goes wire to wire. He was mentioned right out the gates in spring camp.
He was. And, I know one of the questions today to Mike Norvell was by our own Ira Schoffel, who we'll talk to next hour. And I think he was trying to phrase it in a polite way and a non-combative way, but or at least not a negative way, because it doesn't have to be. But I was interested. I wanted to hear the answer, and I figured I knew what Mike would say and how he would say it. But when you see, in some cases, like on the defensive side of the ball, if you're looking at an A.J. Cottrell, for example, as a guy that's going to get some playing time at linebacker. And you know that there are some other players that you look at, you're like, wow, there's some dudes out here that were, walk-ons. I don't know if it's a good thing that we find them on our 2 deep. I'm not sure that's the best way to go about roster construction.
To whom are you referring? Donnie Hebert? 5-star recruit Donnie Hebert?
So, by the way, some might go, who the hell is that?
I would be one of those people.
Correct. So, when that happens, you kind of, I don't know what to think about that. You'd be right to ask yourself, I don't know what to think about that.
I think it would be fair to say that if you just travel down the depth chart a couple of S's from the ROV, the rover that Earl Little starts at, and you see Ashton Barker, Cheyenne Brown, Edwin Joseph, KJ Kirkland.
That all of them would play before Donnie?
And maybe
that's a guess.
Maybe they're giving Donnie a nod for working his ass off.
Donnie's worked his ass off and done some things?
Yeah.
Well, look, it's a vital role. You got a lot of guys that are going to have to play. And in this defense, these got to be – I'll tell you something that stands out if you watched Iowa State, Kansas State. safety play. Grown-ass men triggering, firing, coming up against the run with evil intentions. I fully expect that you're going to see a much higher level of play and intensity from the linebackers and safeties at Florida State this year than you saw a year ago. I don't think there's any question. When you go back and watch a ton of Tony White tape, it's that those guys run around and hit. I mean, if you're any of those guys, you love playing in this defense because you're going to be asked to do a lot of fun things if you like hitting people. And you get to really kind of show a versatility in this defense that not all defenses allow for. So I'm hoping we get something akin, and I know they're different defenses, something akin to what I watched between Iowa State and Kansas State and many teams last year, which was that guys recognizing that it's run and fire up to the line of scrimmage with evil intentions. Let's hope it's the case. I certainly think it will be with a guy like Earl Little Jr., who loves to run around and hit. But back to the offense for a second. No real surprise to see Randy Pittman there as your guy at tight end. No real surprise to see Deuce, Squirrel, and Boggs as your receivers. That was to be expected. Gunnar Hansen at tackle, you already knew that was going to be the case. Richie Leonard at guard, that seems right. Pettibone, yep, we knew that. Looks like there's still a battle, I think, on this offensive line, in my opinion, between Medley and Rizzi at the other guard spot. I think that's the reality of our situation. Mike even referenced the fact that it wasn't totally in ink just yet on the offensive line, or for all these positions, really. But I think he's referencing the offensive line there. I think that battle has gone right down to the wire with Rizzi fighting hard to try to break the interior, break into the starting role in the interior. I don't think he's really that much of an option at tackle. Pettis over there at the right side is not a surprise either.
What's interesting and surprising to me is just because we had heard that Rizzi had been working at tackle, Mike poo-pooed the notion last week when he said he's going to be primarily a guard. Okay, that's fair, but then when you have Herb Hand speaking about one of your starting guards may be a reserve tackle, Rizzi is the first name that we all assumed, myself included, and yet if you look at the second line under right tackle, Adrian Medley is considered to be the third tackle. Well, because I don't think Lucas Simmons is your third tackle. I think one of your starting five against Bama includes your third tackle in the rotation, unless it's Rizzi. But we don't see Rizzi's name in either tackle slot. We see Medley's.
Well, I'm happy about that, Tom. I'll be honest with you. I never liked the idea or felt comfortable with the idea of Rizzi playing tackle in any way, shape, or form. So that's good because he's a guard or a center. So I'm fine with that.
He did play it at a lower level. I don't know that Medley has. He must have. He must have because this is a Gus guy. So,
well, I just think it's a makeup. It's a physical thing with that. Let's jump to the defense really quickly here. We all knew James Williams was going to be out there rushing the passer. His backup is Jaden Jones. Not ideal, but maybe Jaden's come a long way and is healthy, and we'll see. It's nice to see that. Look, Daniel Lyons to me is a bit of a mystery going into this game. He's behind Darrell Jackson, obviously, at the nose. And Darrell's going to have to wreak havoc if they're going to be good. Let's hope he does. It's a money year. Goodness gracious, Darrell, let's go make this thing happen. You're a monster, play like one. But we wondered who was behind him. And we knew, unfortunately, that with Wynn's injury, and we don't know how long he's out, he's definitely not available for this game. We found that out.
Lest he'd be on this too deep.
He would be on this too deep. And so he's not on this too deep, and that's a bit disconcerting, obviously. But Daniel Lyons is on this too deep. And I've got to guess that early in camp he wasn't 100%, and that over time he got better and began to assert himself a little bit more, and now we know he's going to be out there. Okay, well, good. You know, I was worried about it for good reason because I don't think we have a lot of depth at that position. And you've been worried about it. I've been worried about it. We all have good reason to be kind of concerned there. I do want to mention, because Jenkins came up today, right? And Mike is very excited about him being available for this game. So if I'm going to tell you that Wynn is out, Jenkins is available for this game and expects to play. Good news, because I would have never guessed that based on the injury. None of us would have. We did not think that he was going to be back and ready to play.
Yeah, the only question is what percentage of 60, 70 snaps does he play? But there's going to be a real percentage, a significant one.
Yeah. Deontay McCray and Mandrell Desir mentioned here as on the other end position behind Jason Jenkins. So good for you, Jason Jenkins. That's exciting. I got to imagine he worked exceptionally hard at trying to rehab and get himself back and be ready for this type of a game, because this is a showcase game here. This is a chance to go make yourself some money. When you're going up against one of the best offensive lines in the country, you want to be back for that. You want to be healthy for that. You want to showcase your wares against that. So he's listed as the starter. That's huge. And it's big for Florida State because he's big. So you have some versatility there, and Lord knows Tony likes versatility.
You feel his presence.
I'm tired of hearing that described. You know I am. That's why you said it. Justin Cryer, Elijah Herring have a chance along with Omar Graham to have a lot of fun again in this defense. Go watch, if you haven't already, to prepare yourself this week, to familiarize yourself with this defense. Go watch the breakdown on warchant.com. Tom and Dominic Robinson looking at the all-22s, a lot of specific examples, especially on third down, to look at what Tony likes to do, but some others sprinkled in there as well in non-long yardage situations on third down. And if you want, and I did this when we hired Tony White, and it was a good exercise, you know, there is some personnel differences, but go look at the Nebraska season from a year ago. There's a whole lot of good, a little bit of bad, but a whole lot of good from last year with what they do. And you'll end up, having a little better idea of the kind of confusion he's seeking to create. Lots of simulated pressures and a ton of games up front. So you're trying to scheme up ways in which you can get clear shots in one-on-one situations with a linebacker. Sometimes it's an end. Sometimes it's a safety. Depends on what he's trying to do. But you'll see 3 present. They'll rush 4. Then you'll see them back out. And all of a sudden you're rushing 6 with 5 up front. It's a lot of variety. And a lot of crossing the face of the offensive linemen and stunts that are trying to confuse and create those opportunities. I suppose if it works, you can create a ton of havoc, which is the entirety of the goal. But for those that asked a lot over the offseason, hey, I don't know about this 3-3-5, man. Well, some of our players didn't either. Mr. Cryer asked that same question, like, man, I'm not in love with this. On its face, to hear it said aloud, I think a lot of us would have apprehension about a 3-man front against Alabama. But I assure you, if you go watch Tony's defense and go look at what they did with the all-22s, Dominic and Tom, and then go back and look at what Nebraska did a year ago, the front changes constantly. It's just constantly shifting and moving around. And sometimes you think there's 3, and then there's 4, and then there's 5, and then there's 5, 6. I mean, it's crazy the way he switches it up. So there's a lot of trying to create lanes. And it's it can be fun when he gets it going, when he really gets it rolling. So I for one, am excited to see how it translates against Alabama with this personnel.
Yeah, agreed. This is something that just puts constant stress on the minds of the quarterback, whoever's signaling in the checks on the offensive line, the communication amongst the offensive linemen. If you're not a multi-year starting unit, which it's hard to be in college football anyway, but let alone in this era of NIL and transfers, it's really hard to grab continuity over multiple seasons. You are going to be tested. The communication that you think you have, if you're the left guard with the center to your right and the left tackle to your left, it's going to be put to immediate stressful testing with Tony White's front.
Yeah, and the thing of it is, too, you go all the way back to Syracuse, and you can see the footage you guys used where, he just floods on short yardage. He just decides, you know what, I'm not dealing with this nonsense. Here's 6 for that ass. Here we go. Let's go. And he had, if I remember correctly, all the linemen are slanting left, and he tries to overload the right with 2 and 3 rushers. And so you've got these guys having to occupy and switch, and then you're just flooding the zone where you think they're going to go to the strong side. If you guess right, you can create a lot of big plays. But if you're wrong, I have a feeling you're going to give up a lot of big plays.
Yeah, you can guess wrong and do some explosives.
Yes, you can.
The storyline, in retrospect, watching that 2021 FSU-Syracuse game is without Jordan Travis, we lose by 30 in that game.
Yeah, because he would just buy time and then throw some sort of dime up against the sideline or make a play.
Tony would call something, and there's nothing you can do except unless you have a quarterback who has the elusiveness that's off the charts that Jordan did. And so what you're hoping for is there's plenty of situations where the analyst on Saturday says, well, I don't know what Simpson can do here because this is just a great call and everything's accounted for. And you got to make a man miss. He couldn't make the man miss. That's what you're hoping because it can create a tidal wave of rat trapping this defense. But if you call a counterplay into a twist that goes the other way or a stunt that goes the other way, the Red Seas part and you've got a gain of 15. You're like, oh, well, that didn't work.
And Alabama will run what's called a super counter, and they'll pull 2 to the same side and just be like, let's see what you got over here, Jack. Literally to the jack.
Right.
Good luck. That's 700 pounds of beef coming at your ass, and you're sitting there thinking, okay, this is a problem.
There it is.
Shannon Young, my man, is back in town. Diehard Nole that he is. And he's not just a guy that's helping you find that loan that you need to secure the house that you want. He is right there with us walking into that stadium this Saturday. He's currently working for Cross Country Mortgage. You already knew that. He's in 7 states helping out everywhere, but he's in Tallahassee right now. Florida, Georgia, Bama, Tennessee, Texas, and the Carolinas. If you want to reach out to him, better rates, better options, stronger support. He's got all those things going for him. Unwavering commitment, high level work ethic. Tony White would be pleased with Shannon Young. Guys there for you, dependable. Loansforknowles.com. Learn more right now, loansforknowles.com.
Some men follow the crowd. Others take the long way, the wayward way. At thewaywardgent.com, we've curated the gear, gadgets, and grit every respectable man needs, from the fairway to the fire pit. We've identified the top-rated Amazon finds, so you don't have to. No fluff, just the good stuff. Visit thewaywardgent.com for the man who's not afraid to live a little off course. Thewaywardgent.com.
Hey, this is for my homeowner friends out there. You know who you are. When you get your grass cut, you're going to inspect the work, make sure it's good. Get your house painted, check around every corner and edge, make sure that's done right. Get a new roof, got to get eyes on those shimmering new shingles. Get your septic tank cleaned. Bet you're not popping your head down in there to take a look around. You got to trust it's done right. I'll make it easy. Go see my friend Greg Miller Septic. They're my guys. I trust them, and you can too. MillerSeptic.com. That's it. That's the commercial. That's the whole thing. Check them out. That's MillerSeptic.com.
Barry knows cool. He's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows cool. He can put them to the test. Barry knows heating and air conditioning. Keeping you comfortable is what Barry does best.
No matter how busy life gets, your home is the place where your family and friends show you they care and celebrate with you. That's why the professionals at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning always make sure your home is comfortable. Just like those who matter to you most, Barano will always be there for you.
This is Tyler from Barano Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment, purchase or renew your service agreement, or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license number CAC 1816186.
Barry knows heating and air conditioning.
Feeling sluggish? Wake up your body the right way with Vigor. The all-new Vigor Cold Plunge Tub from Hot Spring Spas is now available exclusively at Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas in Tallahassee. Boost circulation, reduce inflammation, sharpen your focus, and more. Elite athletes do it daily, and now you can too. Experience the power of cold therapy in your own home. Come see the Vigor Cold Plunge, available only at Pinch a Penny on Capitol Circle Northeast and Greer Road.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
Love to compete on the dartboard? Then it's time to head to the CP. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill is Tallahassee's premier dart bar, featuring steel tip boards and soft tip internet play. The Corner Pocket hosts leagues and tournaments regularly. Just check out their social media to find a time that works for you. And in between games, grab a pint and a bite in the cool AC, or enjoy yourself outside on the deck. Whether you want to catch a game or start one of your own, the place to be is the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachie Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Friends of Lake Munson, Inc. would like to announce a Science Roundtable community meeting on August 26th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Woodville Community Center at 8000 Old Woodville Highway. Lake Munson is environmentally in danger, and more neglect cannot continue. At this Science Roundtable community meeting, you'll get to hear from state and local officials to learn the facts. Plus, world-renowned scientists and experts on water quality, as well as new innovation experts on restoring the lake to its original sandy bottom, will be present at this meeting. Join the Friends of Lake Munson, Inc. for a Science Roundtable community meeting on August 26th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Woodville Community Center, 8000 Old Woodville Highway.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Monday of game week. Man, is it exciting. It's a lot of fun to think about, wherever this season goes. I think we're all specifically nervous about this game, but I've been thinking big picture about how much growth can happen from, that first game to the time you play Miami. You get so many data points this in a short period of time, and you get the big one right out the gate, which is, again, we can debate this, is maybe less than ideal, but also ideal in some other ways in terms of the element of surprise, in terms of perhaps pulling an upset. I do think having them in week 1 is better than having them in week 4. On the other hand, you went through a lot of changes in the offseason, and you're running 2 different systems with a bunch of new personnel, and you don't get a warm-up. You don't get a warm-up. So you can see it both ways. Will Tony White-Stevens, which we were just talking about, find a way to create havoc and force Ty Simpson to get off to a slow start, begin to struggle, and get in his noggin? He doesn't have the security blanket of his top running back, who unfortunately was hurt in camp and is out for the foreseeable future with the upper body injury. They've had a couple of issues. That's supposed to be a stout and excellent offensive line, but they've had guy miss times. I think his right guard missed time with a concussion.
Since scrimmage 1, this has been a couple of weeks without getting live reps.
Not ideal. There has been talk they were worried about it coming into the season. Right tackle, pro prospect, maybe not in great shape.
Well, yes. Right tackle in general, left tackle, Caden Proctor, all world, missed spring again. And he was called out a week ago that he needs to be in more consistent shape. So,
and maybe he'll be great, and he'll certainly be motivated. I have no doubt that any of the lacklusterness that may affect an Alabama camp in the buildup to a game dissipates when you play your first game of the year on the road at Doak Campbell Stadium against Florida State.
100%. It's just nice to hear noise in their system.
Love it.
Concerns. Their left guard is a Texas A&M transfer who wasn't a starter all year last year. He mixed in, but he wasn't a set-it-and-forget-it starter. So he's there at Alabama for an opportunity, but also one would think at Alabama you'd be getting ready-made players. So it's just interesting there. So across the offensive line, they got 2 guys that they feel good about. Proctor at left tackle, who should go in the first round as long as he's conditioned. And then their center. They love him as well. But then questions at left guard, right tackle. And you know what? They're going to be faced with some things early on to see whether or not they have their P's and Q's down.
Well, and you flip it to the other side of the ball. Can Gus Malzahn create confusion? That's what his offenses, have been able to do. He's been able to do 2 things. He's been able to establish pretty consistently in his career, the numbers bear this out, obviously, the running game. He's been able to run. Obviously, it's worked better when he's had a more mobile quarterback who can also run and change the math, but he's going to inside zone and bam and bam and bam and try to really create that, get this thing going with a tempo, and then they play off of that. And, you take your shots down the field, and we'll see if Deuce has a big day. And it's nice to hear that Squirrel White's health is solid as a rock. Now, Mike just said it today that he's back healthy and ready to go. He had a really good scrimmage in the second scrimmage, missed some time off of that scrimmage, is back healthy now. That's very important. So we'll see those guys. Obviously, you got to create some big plays. I don't know how methodical you're going to be able to be over all 4 quarters. Alabama will adjust to some of that, and then you got to have to find a way. I think really the impetus is on Tommy Castellanos to be a more consistent and better thrower of the football in situations where it's obvious that you're going to have to pass. That's been a problem of his throughout his career. It's not known as a strength. So if you're not constantly ahead of the chains, you have to make some throws to loosen Alabama up. It'll be interesting to see, can he do that? Is he consistent? Does he keep his wits? Obviously, they're going to run him, and I would run the hell out of him.
Well, the other thing you're watching for is the sequencing of the offensive coordinator. We've been very football blessed in the last 15 years to see offensive coordinators get an excellent rhythm and take over a game. And it's like watching a symphony come to life. Mike Norvell, not that long ago, had performances like that.
There was a time.
Holy cow. He had something for them today. And Jimbo Fisher, obviously, when he got in a groove, usually it was against Miami, but when he got in a groove, it was something to behold. Well, here's another guy. Long track record, inconsistent performances in his career for Gus Malzahn, but when he gets in a groove, there's no doubt about that either. You can feel that, and there's a weight that comes with that, and hopefully we apply that pressure to Alabama. But that's part of the Tommy equation here, is what kind of rhythm does Gus get in to allow Tommy to not be in those situations as frequently as you possibly can keep him out of them.
I really wish that in a weird way, we talk about Castellanos' comments in the offseason where he, talked about Alabama doesn't have Nick Saban to bail him out. There's a part of me that wishes elements of what Nick Saban did were still in place. They've gone a little bit away from it now. You listen to the Bama people, and they'll tell you defensively they run a lot more zone than they did under Nick Saban. Under Nick Saban, it's the pattern matching and the man-to-man coverage because they always had, and they still do, exceptional athletes. Alabama has one of the best secondaries in the country. If you're judging by NFL projections and those players, they're loaded at both corners. Safety's a superstar. They've got a ton of talent there. I wish they were going to be in more man than they're going to be in. They're going to be in a little bit more zone. That's what they've started to move towards more than they did under Nick. That's less than ideal because then that's eyes on the quarterback, which you don't like to see when you've got a really mobile one.
I think in this instance, though, given that we are running what we're running defensively, we actually are preparing for Alabama with Tony White's defense more than we normally would. And I think for a lot of opponents this season, a Tony White good-on-good session doesn't teach you much of anything.
Right. Yeah.
Except for how to communicate better on the offensive line. But Bama will mix it up, and they will do different things with their fronts and their zones. But that also lends itself towards the question of, can you run the ball with consistency? Because if you can, then there might be an extra player that comes a little bit closer to line of scrimmage. Now Gus gets into the one-on-ones. He wants
your shot stuff. Yeah.
Simple reads for Tommy, and that's what we're trying to get to here. Simple reads for Tommy when he's throwing the football, and then create doubt amongst the key defenders when you're trying to run the football, because not all runs are snap the ball and turn and hand it off to the back. There's a lot of decisions that need to be made for Tommy Castellanos in the run game, and that'll be a big part of the outcome as well.
They had Castellanos break the rock. You saw the video come out over the weekend. I think a lot of times you're going to project whether it's real or not. Don't know. What didn't see camp, wasn't there. We never saw a single practice, so we don't know. You're going to do that when you bring in a quarterback who's the key to your offense. You're going to give him the keys to this, and I want to believe, we all do, but I've learned my lesson to take a step back and let's just wait and see if it plays out that way, that he was the leader that he's been described as, and the reason that he was given the opportunity to break the rock was because of the consistency with which he showed up to work and lead his teammates and the way they feel about him. I hope that's so, because there were rumors and whispers before he ever got here that wasn't the kind of leader that he was. Let's hope that everybody on this roster, all guys that have played a lot of football but are getting second and third chances to play football here in Florida State in need of a second chance after last year's disaster, that everybody took the reins together, pulling in the right direction, and there's a camaraderie that didn't exist a season ago. I certainly hope. We can all hope. We won't know. Got to watch them play. It's funny. We're all very sensitive, rightfully so, to any sort of rhetoric that a coach can say or that a player can say because of all that we heard a year ago and the outcome being what it was. I have no idea. I hope it's so. I have to believe there was some form of consistent leadership displayed by Castellanos, because one way to get off on the wrong foot would be to have him break the rock if he wasn't that. And so when he did, I thought, all right, it ain't nothing. It means he did what he was being asked to do at the very least with great consistency, because you wouldn't do it otherwise, given how you were burned for allowing guys to become leaders and starters when they hadn't earned it a year ago.
Yeah, I think he has the attention at least of the veteran core, because when you go back and take a look at the storylines of the transfer portal work that Florida State did this last go-around, this last offseason, Tommy was one of the first guys to reach out to all of the players. Once he was in the fold, he didn't wait, for kids to come on campus and meet them at that point. He was texting them. He was FaceTiming them. He was trying to get out in front of that, starting that relationship. I know for Deuce Robinson, it was a lot. Like, he was constantly hounding Deuce to see if he'd be coming to Tallahassee, and in other circumstances with the offensive lineman. He did a lot of the same thing. in the intermediate times, we know that many of the players live in the same off-campus housing situation, and Tommy is right in the middle of all that. These are all good things. It's just a matter of, when a bad thing happens on Saturday.
Yeah, because
everybody's still looking at each other and locked in, or does it become destructive? And sometimes you could even have arguments, and that's not destructive at all.
No.
You've seen plenty of clips of Peyton Manning or Tom Brady or other quarterbacks on the sidelines and their offensive linemen getting into absolute knockdown dragouts. But I think that sideline watching, that Ira Schoffel binocular vision, is going to be something that is worth looking at. And for those of you that might be sitting in that new luxury area on the shady sideline, keep an eye on the bench. Report to us. Let us know if everybody's in this together in case there's adversity that strikes. How did they respond to it? Because last year against Tech, that halftime march towards the locker room, reports were not so hot.
It was crazy how quickly we learned right off the bat. We obviously had people down on the field who reported back to us over there in Ireland, and they said, well, that wasn't good. And I don't mean at the end of the game, as Tom's talking about, they're coming off at halftime, and it could be heard by those on the field very clearly that there was an argument between players and an argument between a coach and a player, and that's
30 minutes in.
What are we doing here? By the way, we had a lot better weather than the fine folks there in Dublin this year, because we got a little rain last year, not a ton, and it dissipated and it was gone, and the weather was beautiful. They got a deluge for most of that first half. I mean, that was a toughie.
The thing I appreciate about the Irish people too is apparently they don't put chemicals in their paint other than the paint chemical itself.
It's just gone.
Because it's just gone.
It's just gone. And it's gone.
We've got all kinds of Rain-X and all kinds of stuff in our paint. Theirs totally disappears. And I'm sure the folks at Aer Lingus, not that we care about that today, but they're like, hey, little something for the trouble. Is our logo even on the field? We're kicking it off. We can't see anything here. This looks like Soldier Field in 1984.
I do love that surrounding area, that neighborhood. And when they give you the sky shots again, you're reminded of that cute little, I know, you wanted to be there again. Yeah. You're like, that place is awesome.
I was just thinking about walking down those streets, which weren't the smoothest in the world, with the giant.
I love them, the cobblestone.
Well, with the giant suitcase. That's why I felt every bump.
Yeah.
Every bump with that giant green suitcase of gear.
Good times, though.
It really was.
And it's a quaint place. I did laugh, and I thought, well, there we go. See, there is some sort of curse in the air for the losing side in Dublin. Post-game fight captured between Kansas State's quarterback's dad and his brother.
Yeah, was that confirmed that that's who it was?
What are we doing out here rolling around on the streets of Dublin after the first game of the year? If you've got a father-son situation, get it together, everybody. They must not be used to pounding heaping helpings of Guinness, because that was a kind of fight that you'll be just, next thing you know, hands are being put on folks and they're rolling around in puddles.
I'd be irate if I was a Kansas State fan today. I'm thankful I'm not, just in general in life.
Yeah, your most dynamic player gets hurt on the punt return to start the game.
Yep.
Also, I'm not questioning whether the man's hurt, but perhaps I'm questioning whether the man's hurt. You muff that punt, and you're hurt, and I watch that replay. Where are you hurt? When did this happen? I don't see anything that suggests you're injured.
You're questioning heart, commitment.
Oh, I'm questioning a lot. That was crazy.
I'm just questioning the competence of the offensive staff. They found something inside of 2 minutes in the first half with that hurry up, and I'm thinking, well, if Kansas State's going to win, then they're just going to lean on this. They were clearly more talented.
Yeah.
But somehow, some way, Matt Campbell upped by the his opposite there.
Yeah, the beauty of that is that the Cyclones now find themselves in the midst of a good situation, because by winning that game, they do not face Utah this year, who's supposed to bounce back in a big way. And they are going to completely miss what has been a loaded Texas Tech offseason, right? So they don't play Texas Tech either.
Okay.
That was a big win for them.
So they have that Louisville SMU schedule.
They've got a little something going for them. And, if we're going to talk about these conferences, Kansas blowing out Fresno State 31-7, and watching that Kansas team who a little juice on before the well, listen, they moved. I remember I told you last week they moved back into their own stadium.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, so I was like, and they came out on fire.
Yeah, Daniels looked very good.
Yeah, he was 18 of 20 for $176 and 47 yards rushing to go with 3 touchdown passes. I'd say he looked good early.
Fresno. I mean,
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
First game of the year, their defense only gave up just a little over 200 yards for the game.
I'm sorry, I'm not recognizing. Great bet. Great bet.
It was a great bet, and I gave those 14 points, and not a problem. We're off to a start.
There was the lay and play pick of the week.
It was the lay and play pick of the week. We were off to a flying start. I wish there were more preseason games. Boy, did I get on a roll in the preseason at the end. Just check. It was glorious. The quarterback, we got to go to break. The quarterback for Hawaii is a small child. What are they doing in Hawaii endangering this little kid out there trying to play football? Stanford, that is a terrible loss. More on that in a bit. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
News now.
2 Tallahassee teenagers were taken in. Arrested and was also taken to the Juvenile Assessment Center. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
Now, here's your Tallahassee weather report.
From the ABC 27 First to Know Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jillian Preddy. Highs today, we're starting to see them climb through the 80s, and they will reach the lower 90s throughout the day today. Some scattered showers are possible, but there won't be much today, only about a 30% chance of rain, some heavy downpours, and some rumbles of thunder for some neighborhoods. However, most of us will be getting in on that sunshine today. Overnight tonight, though, temperatures will start to drop to the upper 60s to low 70s. From the ABC 27 First to Know Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jillian Preddy.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Hey, Jeff, what's up, buddy?
I was just thinking, I never tell you that when you grow up, one of the things that you'll miss are the games that you created with your friends in the neighborhood.
Oh, good days.
So I would have my buddy come over, and then we'd make up these games that were kind of like a hodgepodge of every game that you've ever played.
Kind of like the bikes we built.
Correct. Yes. And it's a grand experiment. In the beginning, nobody knows how to play the game, and you argue about what the rules are going to be. And in the end, everybody knows how to play the game. By the end of that summer, you know the rules, the neighborhood know the rules, and you play that game like it's the greatest game ever played.
But they still try to break the rules, right?
Oh, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. But at the end, Eddie, you're never going to play it again, and you'll think about it the rest of your life.
And the best game you ever played was that game.
Never been a better one.
Hey, you want to have a Gordo Smash, Jeff?
I do. I'd like that. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
I know they say that Micah kid is 5'10", 180, buddy. That is generous, not generous.
You getting your Gus bells on ready?
Gus on, ready to roll. I'll tell you, did you see how Stanford blew that game? I mean, they really didn't. I mean, they didn't play a smart game.
No.
They did not play a smart game.
Yeah, I got deep into the second half.
I don't know what in the world.
The 20-play drive, I was there for every bit of that. That's Service Academy worthy, and it was fun to watch.
I've got something I'm worried about. And we'll see. Now, it didn't affect every game, and I didn't see every game this weekend, but I took in a lot of football and tried to find a lot of football. I mean, I'm out there watching Portland State. I was watching a lot of football. And didn't you warn me on Friday, Tom, when we were talking that there was this point of emphasis about, penalizing players for celebrations?
In the NFL, yes.
But not college, right?
I didn't see any specifics for college, no.
Because if you didn't see this, Stanford leading 13-7 in the first half against Hawaii. And if you saw the play, Clay Patterson is a lineman for Stanford, and he made a big tackle that, put Hawaii, I think, probably in a position where they were out of field goal range. And then he did some sort of TikTok dance.
Forgot about this. Yeah, that's right.
Which, again, gentlemen, in what world is it required that everybody do a TikTok dance? Can we not do that? But that said, I don't need my officials dictating terms in a game here, man. That play means Stanford leads at halftime. Instead, you call a penalty on a TikTok dance, and on the very next play, my little 12-year-old quarterback throws a touchdown pass.
It's a good throw.
Yeah, but damn it, man.
I thought
that is ridiculous.
I thought the TikTok dance was within the confines of the appropriate time.
I'm not calling that penalty.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm not calling that penalty. Don't do that. Let's not start this nonsense, man. They're having some fun out here. Now, again, I don't think it was disrespectful is the thing. Like, if your emphasis is on that, then it's not disrespectful. It's stupid, and we need not be engaging in TikTok dances as young men, but
I think that's how the Coach Cameron or Coordinator Lang would approach it. Talk to the officials, say, I get it. I don't like TikTok dances either, sir. But what are we doing? Sir, he's not over the other man's lifeless body.
That's what I mean.
He's back somewhere else.
I really appreciate officials who walk over to players, especially in the first couple of quarters of a new year, and say, hey, look, guys, we're looking at this. We're looking at these things. We're looking at these things now with a more of a jaundiced eye. They've got us focusing on this. Don't do it again. I'm flagging you. Don't do it again. And there are good officials who do that. And they do it with like your standard calls as well. Shout out to Rashad, I think it is there. I see you're a new member. Appreciate you. Never Lose Your Nerd has been a member for 6 months. Yes, sir. It's game week. So excited for Saturday and can't get here soon enough. Really excited for Little and think he can be a LaMarcus Joyner type. I hope you're right.
Oh, man. Even 75% of that, and we're in good shape this year.
Don't you think that's kind of the role, though, in a way? I mean, that's kind of the role, running around hitting people.
I would love to see LaMarcus play the Rover in a 3-3-5. He kind of already did play Rover for us without it being called such.
Right.
But, yes, I think that's totally the role. And listening to Tony or Mike Norvell speak, it's as though this role was built for Earl Little's skill set. Now, if they're wrong on the Earl Little evaluation, we are in terrible trouble. And I do want to throw that back out there, because last year we were led to believe certain things and they never panned out. So that cautionary language is out there. But I mean, it has been from the start that they believe this specific position and the skills that are demanded of the Rover are perfectly in sync with who Earl Little is as a football player.
Well, he's an athlete. So he's a really twitchy athlete, and he's a downhill kid, and he plays fast, and he's not afraid. He's not afraid. So that's the whole thing. And by the way, don't you think, and based on what we learned in camp, both spring and fall camp, that specific development happened faster than anything else that they learned about this team? So what I mean is, he became a talking point within a week of camp starting, and was the talking point of spring, where they weren't getting a lot done and couldn't really highlight too much as they were trying to install and getting guys back healthy and trying to figure it out and teach. He was the kind of highlight. He was the guy they would talk about. Oh, well, Earl is doing a great job out here, really setting the tone for what we're trying to do physically. You'd hear phrases like that a lot. So he took to this defense and to his role in this defense very quickly, enough to where Tony, who doesn't just praise people for the sake of praising people quite clearly, immediately mentioned him. So I think this is perfectly suited for him. There are other things that he doesn't do well that he's not going to be asked to do.
It all comes down to his football IQ. If he has the football IQ and the training that goes with it, then this is going to be a success, because the physical enthusiasm, if you will, that Earl Little plays with is enormous. And we saw that last year. It stood out amongst a bunch of kids who didn't care.
Yeah, who were listless, yes.
And Earl did. But the question last year was, does he know where he's going? Because I don't think he knows where he's going. So what the question is this year is he prepared? Does he know where he's going? Does he know what his assignment is? And then also, when it's not his assignment, does he have the motor to go run down a play? Which I think that last part, the answer is absolutely going to be yes.
For all your commercial and residential roofing and construction needs, make sure you call my friends at T-Spark Enterprises, 850-766-1340. They serve North Florida, South Georgia, areas like Monticello, Havana, Quincy, Crawfordville, Wakulla, Tallahassee, obviously Madison, Thomasville, etc. T-Spark Enterprises. If you want a guaranteed win, call T-Spark Enterprises for your next roofing and construction project. They conquer all peaks. License number CGC 1525336, CCC 1331204. Hour number 2 forthcoming. Stay with.
Go custom with your window coverings with help from Budget Blinds of Tallahassee. Budget Blinds brings their showroom to your home with dozens of color and pattern choices. Just tell them what you love and they'll make it happen. From designing custom draperies and Roman shades to color matching your blinds and shutters.
I'm Gary, the local owner of Budget Blinds Tallahassee, where you get beautiful style and expert service for any budget. Call 668-4835 for a free consultation online at budgetblinds.com/Tallahassee.
When you need the plumber quick, how long is an acceptable time to wait?
Hey guys, we really need you over here. My toddler just flushed a whole bunch of toys down the toilet and everything, and I mean everything, is backing up.
2 hours?
Hey guys, just checking in. The water has reached the hallway now and it's getting pretty deep. Can you get here anytime soon?
4 hours?
Hey guys, can you please hurry? Now my wiener dog is doing the backstroke over here and they're not known to be strong swimmers. Hey honey, grab his life jacket.
8 hours?
Oh, so now you're here.
At M&L Plumbing, you'll never have to wait long for quality, dependable service right when you need it. Our qualified technicians aim to achieve 100% customer satisfaction. And now M&L Plumbing can also be your go-to for all septic tank pump-out services. So the next time you need plumbing work or repairs, think of the name M&L Plumbing. Your local plumbing experts, commercial or residential. Give us a call, 850-575-9393, or online at mnlplumbing.com. M&L Plumbing, for all of your plumbing needs.
Tallahassee's 30-year-old Funny Paper and American Legion Post 13 have joined forces to become Major Morale. The new magazine has 4 more pages of post activities and military information that you probably never knew. But don't worry, it's still as politically correct and newsworthy as always. Okay, it's the same funny stuff, but it's still only available at the sponsors' locations like ABC Flooring, Tallahassee Automobile Museum, Krispy Kreme, or Keith Lawson Services, providing professional services and maintenance for your home's most critical systems for over 39 years. If you need air conditioning, heating, or plumbing repairs, you will receive an upfront written quote, and the job will be done on time by the area's most advanced, highly trained professionals. Keith Lawson Services, Florida license CMC 125456 and CFC 1429-197.
Love to compete on the dartboard? Then it's time to head to the CP. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill is Tallahassee's premier dart bar, featuring steel tip boards and soft tip internet play. The Corner Pocket hosts leagues and tournaments regularly. Just check out their social media to find a time that works for you. And in between games, grab a pint and a bite in the cool AC, or enjoy yourself outside on the deck. Whether you want to catch a game or start one of your own, the place to be is the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachie Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Gretna, Tallahassee. Your sports flash update on Real Talk 93.3 in Tallahassee.
Jaguars and Dolphins wrapped up their respective preseasons against each other on Saturday, with the Dolphins winning 14-6. Reportedly, the Jaguars have traded tackle Fred Johnson to the Eagles. He had signed a one-year deal back in March. The compensation is a 7th-round pick in 2026. Johnson was likely to be cut. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they wrapped up their preseason on Saturday when they lost to the Buffalo Bills 23-19. The Buccaneers have informed rookie safety Shiloh Sanders that he is being waived. He was ejected from that game after he threw a punch. This Sports Flash is presented by Progressive. Bundle auto and home, renters, or condo insurance and save with Progressive. I'm Matt Pauley on Real Talk 93.3.
Lowe's knows that no matter your paint project, saving is at the top of your list. That's why when you shop today, you can buy one, get one free. Select Valspar and HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams. One coat coverage interior paints via rebate. Shop these deals in-store or online today at Lowe's. We help, you save. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at the time of purchase. See sales associate for details. Offer valid 8/21 through 9/3.
Ugh, kitchen ants, runaway roaches, a spider. Relax, just use Zevo. Zevo insect killer sprays use a powerful blend of mint and rosemary to eliminate those pests and up to 20 other bug types. Plus, Zevo is safe for use around people and pets when used as directed. Just spray the bugs and wipe them away. Zevo, people friendly, bug deadly.
For most families, your home is your biggest investment. That's why Joel Higgins built ACL Home Inspections, providing you thorough, precise, and efficient information with same-day, easy-to-read digital reports.
Probably one of the most common things that we find is a water heater drain line. It's meant to be plumbed a certain way, and a lot of the times in a retrofit situation where they replace the water heater is a different size. Lots of times they'll say, I had no idea, and it's the home that they live in, and they walk past these things every day. They're not even aware that it's a danger, much less that it's even there.
Protect your family's biggest investment. Call ACL.
Having your HVAC system operating properly is probably the biggest thing for high temperature events. So I always recommend a service agreement with a local HVAC company that will come twice a year and clean and service your HVAC system. And they can spot problems.
Call today, 850-312-8919.
Some men follow the crowd. Others take the long way, the wayward way. At thewaywardgent.com, we've curated the gear, gadgets, and grit every respectable man needs, from the fairway to the fire pit. We've identified the top-rated Amazon finds, so you don't have to. No fluff, just the good stuff. Visit thewaywardgent.com for the man who's not afraid to live a little off course. Thewaywardgent.com.
Pay-per-view fights can ring up big bills, especially since in the Octagon there is one every few weeks. That's why the 7th Hill Tap Room right downstairs from Corner Pocket Bar and Grill carries every single fight. Plus, unlike most pay-per-view bars, there's no cover charge. And drink specials too, like $3 select domestic beers and more. And if you enjoy international soccer, 7th Hill opens early. $2 mimosas on Sundays, anyone? The 7th Hill Tap Room, 2475 Appalachia Parkway, just downstairs from Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
Here's the cold, hard truth. Your body needs more than you're giving it to stay healthy. And now it's easier than ever with Vigor, the all-new cold plunge tub from Hot Spring Spas. Available only at Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas in Tallahassee. Cold plunges reduce muscle soreness, boost mood, improve sleep, and so much more. It's not just a trend, it's science-backed wellness. And now you can have it in your own home. Ready to feel alive again? Pinch a Penny has the exclusive home use solution. Visit us on Capitol Circle Northeast and take the plunge.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
rear view. Ira Schoffel to join me this hour. Looking forward to it. On Twitter, it's at Jay Cameron Show. Once again, thanks for listening on 93.3 FM, Real Talk Radio, and on Warchant TV. Thanks for listening to the pod. If you're listening to this later on, maybe you're on a jog. Maybe you're in the shower. Maybe you're in the pool. Maybe you're in the cold plunge tub. Maybe you're just sitting about eating, thinking about the upcoming game. Thanks for listening to the Jeff Cameron Show. We do appreciate it. A lot to kick around as the week builds towards this game on Saturday. Spent a lot less time in the last 24 hours thinking about operations, Tom, stadium operations, and the satisfaction of those attending the game that doled out large sums of money to the university. Instead, really now it's about the football. Well, we'll have time to talk about all that other stuff and vet how it did or did not go, because Lord knows we'll hear from people. But the football is what I'm thinking of now, just the football. And what does it mean? What will we learn? What can we learn? One game against an opponent who on paper has better players than Florida State. So it'll be very interesting to see what Florida State brings to the table in this game as a 13.5-point underdog.
I think one thing you're going to get to know by the end of the game, you won't know it early, is how much of the offense, how much of the defense does this group have command of for the Alabama game. Because the coordinators, I don't think, are going to try things for this Saturday. I think they're going to go with stuff that they saw in practice and in camp that their 11 have a command of. And I think it's more interesting on the defense than it is the offense.
Much more, because the offense is easy to learn, and I would think they have total command of what his concepts are and what they're doing.
There are fewer of them, yes, for Gus Malzahn's side of the equation. But yes, how often does Tony White call exotic looks or things that might put a linebacker in a really weird spot where they've got to read, react? How many times does he just go standard in a given down and distance because vanilla might be the way in this game? It's going to be hard to know, first of all, because Tony White does scheme up differently for each opponent. So you're not going to really find too many trends until maybe we get into the back half of the calendar. But if you're not seeing twists and stunts and games and exotic pressures and weird looks defensively from Florida State against Alabama, I think that would be an indicator that Tony doesn't feel comfortable that his 11 can run it, and they know it with rote memory at this point. They might be able to, but that's part of the allure of watching on Saturday, is just how much does this group know.
You know, it's funny, if you tried to pick a player on either side of the ball that benefited most from the coordinators that came in, well, first of all, there's 11 new starters on offense, so I guess that's harder to do. Omar Graham would be the answer on defense, wouldn't it? I think so. He or Justin Cryer. You see, when you watch Tony's defense, you really see an improved role. If you're a more of a tackling machine, like Elijah Herring is going to get a lot of tackles in this defense. He's going to be freed up to play sideline to sideline and make a lot of tackles. But I think that where Omar Graham was trending in terms of having gotten better at playing football for Florida State was that you saw him become a lot more, I would say, quick to the football. As the season went on, he played with a little bit more what for. Now, this is a different defense, but I think it's better suited for him. It's going to free him up not to have to take on as many blocks and go make tackles. We'll see. I just have a suspicion he's going to be a much better player.
Well, I think it's more straight ahead. Yeah, if you're going to play the jack, a lot of times you'll be brought and you'll be added to the front as that fourth,
right,
to make that even front. And at that point, you're kind of turning into an outside linebacker and an old 3-4 in some responsibilities. Now, those might not be the responsibilities on the given play that you decide to look and see what's Omar Graham doing. But in general, when you're the jack and you get added to a 4-man front, most everything that you're going to be doing is right in front of you. And so you just need to play downhill and trigger downhill, which that would be full circle. Or better yet, probably at 180 degrees for Omar Graham, because there was a play against Georgia Tech, a trick play where he has the assignment, it's in front of him, and it takes him an extra tick and a half to trigger and get downhill. And that delay made all the difference in the success or the failure of the play, because Georgia Tech hit on it. So in a situation where the play is in front of Omar Graham on Saturday, how comfortable does he look? You could extend that to other linebackers like Juice Cryer, or you could extend it to KJ Kirkland at the safety level.
Most improved element of our team will be the second and third levels of the defense.
The triggering, the reacting, the playing with instinct. You want to see instinct. You don't want to see thinking on the field. And thinking usually is embodied by hesitation, a half second where a guy pauses because he doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, but I just don't believe Tony White's going to let people play if they don't run to the football. And he's talked about it since the first day he got here. You go back and remember the leaked tape of him addressing the defensive unit his first week here, and they're in the one room there. I think it's in the Moore, and they're all sitting there looking at the blackboard where we've been in before, where they'll have the media come in before the start of the season and tell you about the NCAA rules and all that other stuff. They're all in there in a meeting room, and I mean, the whole crux of what he's talking about is when I watch video of practice, I better see all of you flying to the football. Where are we going to be? Our asses are going to be at the football. And they're asked to be in frame before the video cuts off. So no matter where you are, you have to fly to the football. I think that probably served as a separator early on when pads came on, for the guys that had the motor to compete all the way through the play or not. That's probably why Shaheem and others got demoted. There are other reasons, but I think that was probably the first level of test. All right, you're going to do what I ask you to do on every single play. A, it requires you to be completely committed because it's a pain in the ass. And B, you better be in really good shape because you're going to have to constantly find a way into the play, into the frame. I'm trying to set the tone for what the expectation is. Go back and watch Nebraska. They fly to the football. All their guys do. If you're going to make a mistake, make it fast and go to the football and hit somebody. I mean, you're right. They may have some moments of confusion because, again, there's a lot there and it's in concert. And there's a lot of defensive footballs that way. It's especially true with this. But I don't think we're going to see the timidity that we saw a year ago or the passive that we saw a year ago or the indifference, most importantly, that we saw a year ago. I think you see a team that flies around to the football. The question is, are you making tackles within the first 3 or 4 yards of the line of scrimmage, or is it 7-8 yards downfield because you didn't know what you were doing?
Well, yeah, that's the part I was about to say, which is that hidden yardage is not just something where you don't catch a punt and it rolls an extra 15 or 20 yards. We've been bad at that too. But hidden yardage is about that will to come up and make a play. 2nd and 6 is far different from 2nd and 3.5. It's totally different. And effort can put you in 2nd and 6 instead of 2nd and 3.5, or preparation. Better yet, like the preparation before that, you understand what your assignment is, so you don't have to think. We watched a lot of guys not only lollygag last year, but also hesitate because it looked like they had never played the game before. That can't be the thing on Saturday. If you're going to fail, don't have it be because it looks like you've never played football in your life. That was what 2 and 10 was all about.
Quick aside, back to football frequently throughout the rest of this show and, of course, this week, but I did want to doff the cap to one Cal Raleigh, Florida State's own, hitting his 48th and 49 home runs, sets a Major League Baseball record for catchers. How about that? How about Cal Raleigh with a chant, 37,550 people chanting MVP following his record-breaking home run. What a season this has been for him. He sets the single-season record for catchers, passes Salvador Perez, for total with the Kansas City Royals back in 2021, by the way, after hitting his 2nd home run, which is the watermark for backstops. That's him. It's his. Pretty cool with the stadium cheering him on. And one of the good guys in the sport. He was really, really good here. It's not like he wasn't, especially that 2nd year when he was healthy. He was really, really good. But I don't know that any of us saw him going on to break the all-time Major League record for home runs by a catcher.
And here's what he is in line to do now, which is have the most home runs in a season by a switch hitter in the history of the game. He's coming for Mickey Mantle.
Mm-hmm.
He is within striking distance of Mickey Mantle. And usually for Cal, these home runs of the season have come in bunches. He'd been on a bit of a dry spell, but he hit 2 yesterday. So I would envision that this week he's going to add to that total. I think if he gets to 55, he holds solo possession. I think the mix number was 54.
Yeah.
So he's 6 home runs away from being the best, most prolific power hitter, switch hitter in a single season in the history of the game.
Well, think about this, too. 31 games to go in the regular season. He has a chance of passing Ken Griffey Jr.'s franchise record of 56 home run with the Seattle Mariners. That's another thing that if you just said, Cal Raleigh's going to break Ken Griffey Jr.'s single season record for home runs for the Mariners, you would not have thought that. To go back to this, only 4 players in Major League Baseball history have hit at least 40 homers in a season while primarily playing catcher. So he's now obviously where we said he was, 49, which is amazing. But, Johnny Bench went over 40 twice in his career. Roy Campanella did it. Todd Hundley did it. Mike Piazza did it twice. Bench, Campanella, and Piazza, of course, are all in the Hall of Fame. Now, he's got a long way to go there, but he's 28, and that swing is, you just worry about being beset by injury at that position. It's what happens to all these guys. We've seen promising catchers with a ton of power most of the time get worn down pretty quickly, but not this year, buddy. What a cool moment. And the further removed we get from it, years from now, and for as long as that record holds, I mean, obviously, you got a chance now to add something to Hauser.
Sure.
We do that for players that have gone on to have prolific Major League Baseball careers.
Yeah, I feel like it's him and Schwarber for the MLB home run crown this year. We'll see.
Sure.
Ohtani's not that far behind, and
Hit one last night.
He should never be counted out in those situations, of course. But the other thing about Cal is just being a switch hitter. A lot of times you'll see a hitter who has splits that are a little bit weaker from one side, and they run into 3 or 4 power pitchers in a given week, and it's the same side, usually a lefty in this situation, and they go into slumps. If you're locked in as a switch hitter, it's hard to go into slumps. It's hard. It's a remarkable season. And that fan base is also, they love him in such a way because they're desperate to get back to the playoffs and achieve themselves. So they're all going on this ride together, which makes it just that little bit more electric in the stands in Seattle.
So you've been out to the park in San Francisco, and I bring that up because I went out a number of years ago, and Buster Posey was still playing for the San Francisco Giants, and I went with my dad, and we got down on the field for batting practice and all that. They had such a high regard for Buster Posey, who, of course, now works within that organization. It is so strange to me that Florida State has had 2 catchers go on out to the West Coast to go on to be like all-time greats, and this is an all-time great season. We'll see how Cal's career goes, but he's on pace.
He had a good year last year.
Yes, he did. Yeah, and he was already beloved, but I mean, that's pretty cool. I mean, just producing that, I just wanted to make sure I mentioned it because it's easy to get lost in the wash with all of the football talk, which understandably we're all excited about. I mean, it was even better. Some things don't live up to what you had pictured in your mind. We all know that feeling of going to a movie that everybody's told us is awesome or that is considered to be all-time great, and you finally get around to seeing it, you're like, it's good. And I was so pumped for football on Saturday. It was ridiculous. I couldn't sleep. I woke up early, and I always do, but I woke up really early for a Saturday. I was like, this is ridiculous. I'm so pumped for this game, Farmageddon, really? But I just must have needed it because I watched every snap. And I went from game to game to game and watched I stayed up for the entirety of 31-7 Kansas over Fresno State. I stayed up for the pirated Stanford, Hawaii. I watched everything.
Yeah, thankfully the NFL preseason game that had preempted it and prevented anybody from watching it on streaming.
Jacksonville, yeah.
I do have Paramount Plus. You still can't get it. It defaults to WCTV.
I know that it does. It's nonsense.
That's a glitch that needs to be fixed.
Yes, it does.
But thankfully, you could join it on your normal feeds by the third quarter of the game.
Right.
Because both those NFL franchises were ready to end the preseason, and rightly so. Good for them.
Yeah.
Keep running the ball.
Let's go.
They move the clock. There you go.
Get off the field. But yeah, I watched all of it just to see just the snaps, all of it, just to take it in, just the pacing of football, to be back with that, to have that, just to see, and to once again lay your eyes upon, teams that play hard when the outcome is fairly obvious. We didn't have it a year ago. I've longed for it. Like, for its own sake, there is virtue in that. Show up and play hard all the time. The game demands it of you. I don't want to see this nonsense if things go south on Saturday.
I'm still thinking about Western Kentucky skill position players and the drive they executed against Sam Houston State and Phil Longo. That's where Phil Longo is, everybody, is Sam Houston State. A couple of plays where I go, oh, that's Power 5 gifted. This is a transfer portal watch game. I'm hoping that our general manager of personnel
was
watching Western Kentucky on Saturday.
I wish we didn't have to constantly do this, but yes.
Well, hey, Group of 5 stuff has been a feeder system in the short history of the portal. That's been a very important feeder system.
I'm just saying we're constantly having to really monitor that portal.
It's a little 0 to 60 there.
You've got our next quarterback?
No, I got our next receiver, our next diminutive 0 to 60 receiver.
That's fine.
Quarterback's good too.
Yeah, I know. I thought just you were talking about 4 p.m. tomorrow. All 32 teams in the National Football League must reduce their active rosters to 53 players. Lots of cuts are happening. Some names you've never heard of, many more that you have. We'll see and monitor that as the day goes on. By the way, do you know, quick aside here, a little stat nugget for you. When was the last time Alabama lost a season opener?
Oh, my. What a great question. I don't think it's recent. I'm going to go with 2007.
2001.
Oh, boy. Okay.
You know who it was to?
Kansas State.
UCLA.
Okay. Out of conference.
20-17. Deshaun Foster had 110 yards rushing.
Wow. Deshaun Foster.
The great Dennis Franchione was making his Alabama head coaching debut.
Taking over from Mike Shula.
It's a tough debut to lose to UCLA, but they did 20-17. It was a comeback by the Bruins. Deshaun Foster, 110 yards rushing in that game, and Alabama fell. 2001.
Boy, they're due.
They are due. They are absolutely due. That's a good way to spin that, Tom. They're due. It's been way too long. Be the answer to that next trivia question. Chef Cameron Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Of course, our good buddy Ira Schoffel set to join us in a moment. Before he does, let me tell you that Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas have everything you need for pool maintenance, chemicals, cleaners, pumps, vacuums, nets, covers. They've got it. They now have cold plunge tubs as well. That's important for your health. Those benefits documented. And when you get a company like Hot Springs stepping in to make the cold plunge tub, you know you got the best in the business putting that together. Huge warehouse displays of tubs for as far as the eyes can see if you go over off of Greer Street. Enjoy it, take it all in, and then find out how it is they can give you that tub on the cheap. It really is easier than you're thinking it is to relax. They're ready to show you how to do that. Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas.
Water is your home's worst enemy. It finds cracks, soft spots, and weaknesses. But not on our watch. At Gutter Solutions and Waterproofing, we're veteran-owned and built different, driven by detail and the pursuit of excellence. We install seamless gutters, underground drainage, and waterproofing systems that don't fail. Because when you live with discipline, water doesn't stand a chance. Gutter Solutions and Waterproofing. Visit guttersolutions.net. With us, it's personal. A roof isn't decoration. It's your home's first line of defense. At GSWP Roofing, we treat every build like it's mission critical. We're GAF Master Elite certified, led by a former Marine, and we don't cut corners. We execute with discipline, precision, and materials that hold the line. Storm after storm, year after year. Repairs, replacements, full installs. This is roofing done by the book. No excuses, no shortcuts. GSWP Roofing. Online at gswproofing.com. With us, you're covered.
License number CCC 1335048.
Here's the cold, hard truth. Your body needs more than you're giving it to stay healthy. And now it's easier than ever with Vigor, the all-new cold plunge tub from Hot Spring Spas. Available only at Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas in Tallahassee. Cold plunges reduce muscle soreness, boost mood, improve sleep, and so much more. It's not just a trend, it's science-backed wellness. And now you can have it in your own home. Ready to feel alive again? Pinch A Penny has the exclusive home use solution. Visit us on Capitol Circle Northeast and take the plunge.
Hey everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansforknowles.com. That is, again, loansforknowles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Knowles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansforknowles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansforknowles.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 373031.
Look
Looking to upgrade your backyard, your business, or even your life? Then you've got to check out Southeast Portable Buildings right here in Tallahassee.
That's right. Southeast Portable Buildings has everything: sheds, cabins, carports, and now beautiful decks to go with them.
Imagine a brand new storage building and a deck out front. Perfect for that morning coffee or for your family gatherings.
Need something custom? No problem. They'll work with you to find exactly what fits your needs, big or small, simple or stylish.
And with easy financing options, you can make your dream space happen sooner than you think.
Southeast Portable Buildings, where you're not just getting a building, you're getting a lifestyle upgrade. Give our friends a call today, 850-580-6400. That's 850-580-6400.
Southeast Portable Buildings.
Big buildings.
Big decks.
Big dreams.
Southeast Portable Buildings on West Tennessee Street, just north of Capitol Circle in Tallahassee.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Rolling on, Big River. Game week is an exciting week. Always fun to talk to my cohort and good friend, Ira Schoffel. Warchant.com joins us on the Jeff Cameron Show as he's wont to do Mondays. This is a special Monday, Ira. How are you, brother?
I'm good, Jeff. How you doing, man?
I'm doing really well. I'm excited as I could possibly be. I'm anxious to see what this looks like. I know we all are. Anything stand out to you today when you heard Mike Norvell answering questions, some of which you asked? Obviously, we've talked a little bit about, an Ashland Barker or just the depth chart in general. Seeing Jason Jenkins is back and is going to start for Florida State is a big deal. Just kind of curious your thoughts, what you make of that.
Yeah, I thought those were probably the most interesting surprises on the depth chart. I mean, I think the offensive line, the way when you see it on paper really strikes, home the fact that it's something they've been saying that they feel really good about maybe 6 guys that they're hoping to kind of handle everything that they need from that starting 5. And so if anybody goes down, the Adrian Medley's might start at guard, and he also may be a backup tackle. We got Jacob Rizzi is competing for the starting job at both guard spots, and so there's not a lot of bodies to go to that too deep on the offensive line. Obviously, they have other guys available, but the guys they're counting on, it's a small group. So I think when you see that on paper, that stands out. But overall, talking to Mike Norvell, I thought he seemed to be in a good place. I think he feels good about this team. Now, whether or not he's accurate or not, because he certainly wasn't accurate with how he felt about the team last year, we'll have to see. But I thought it seemed like he genuinely feels good about this team right now.
What are you most intrigued to see yourself? What is it that you have suspicions about, good or bad, that you're kind of, I really need to see this game because we didn't get to see practices and we can only rely on so much of what we hear. What are you most intrigued to see?
I'm really, I'm still pretty confident in the offense. I mean, I think we know what we're going to get there. I think when you look at that offense, most of the guys on that side of the ball have done it at the college level. So I think we have a pretty good idea of what that's going to look like. Defensively, I'm still curious. I just, is Jason Jenkins, is he exactly what they thought they were going to get when they got him out of the portal? Because they were really excited. I mean, I think when they got him out of the portal from Tennessee, there was a feeling he may end up being your starting defensive end. But then when he got hurt, you started thinking, well, maybe not. At defensive tackle, Darrell Jackson, is he going to be the guy that we've all been talking about for the last 2 or 3 years? Is he finally going to be that guy, that dominant player? And then his backup without Kevin Wynn available is Daniel Lyons. So what does it look like there? Because Daniel Lyons has kind of been probably a little bit hot and cold throughout his tenure. And then, the other defensive end spot, some of the guys that will be mixing in there, Amari Williams and some of the Jaden Jones and those guys, what does that look like? So to me, I feel pretty confident in the back 6, back 7. I think that's going to be a solid group. But that defensive line is something that's probably going to be the most interesting thing for me to watch against Alabama is what does that group look like, especially against that offensive line.
It's funny. I read where you did your Henshaw House, and you had Coach on, and talked about the overreaction to opening games because it's hard for coaches to know what their team's going to be until they start and all that. This is the craziest one of those that, since I've known you and we've worked together and been friends, that we've ever been a part of. I mean, I think we knew that there was some years where the variance from game one to the end of the season might change quite a bit because of whatever, a new coach, new system. But I mean, when you have nearly 50 new players on this roster, it is really, really going to be hard to know what to make of this game and the result of it, win or lose.
I mean, it just seems like the odds seem low that everybody that they are confident in is going to play to the level that they hope they're going to play in, or there might be guys that they're not sure about that raise their level of play. And that's what Coach Henshaw was talking about is you just never really know. You can practice all you want, but until the game starts, until something bad happens or something good happens, just seeing how the guys handle that in the moment. We have so many unknowns with this team right now. And then, including the coaching staff, how did Gus and Mike Norvell interact for the first time in 15 years that they've been on the sideline together, or close to 20 years since they've been on the sideline together. So all those things are going to be new, and you have to imagine they're not all going to go as well as you hope. But the question is, okay, how do you handle it if it doesn't? And to that point, this game doesn't determine the whole season, even though it's probably going to feel that way if it doesn't go well, because it comes on the heels of what happened last year. So that part is going to be tricky for all of us. How much do we overreact based on one game?
I don't know how well they'll play or how close the game is going to be, but I said earlier in the show, and I've been saying for weeks, that I think that one of the things that has been remedied for certain is that there will be effort on every play. There will be a greater intensity, I think, from our players, from Florida State's players this year over last year. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do. And, just as you were kind of talking about it, I was thinking about the way Mike Norvell talked about that. And we can kind of, I've texting with friends and talking with friends about, things Mike Norvell says and how many people are quick to dismiss anything he says now because of, last year and the build up to last season. But I would say this, it's one thing to say you think this position group's going to play well. It's one thing to think the passing game is going to be, or the running game is going to be good. Like, those things are really dependent on what the other team does and whether or not you can really execute against an opponent. Effort's a little bit different, and competitive spirit's a little bit different. The fact that he keeps talking up and bringing up how competitive this team is, how much they fight, how hard they push, that to me, that should translate to game day. That's not about execution. That's not about what the opponent does. Either you're somebody that busts your butt or you're not. And it seems like he feels like this is a group that does. And if that's true, and if they are competitive the way he says, those are things fans can get behind. They can understand maybe you just aren't sharp as you need to be. Maybe you missed a couple throws. Maybe you fumbled the ball, whatever it is. People can understand it, but they're not going to understand it if they don't go out and really play hard and compete and hit the way Florida State teams traditionally have, but they certainly didn't last year.
I'm just curious your thoughts on this, and it's going to be an opinion because we didn't get to see practice, but I saw the way that they listed the running backs and who got the bold type treatment and who didn't. And of course, it's fairly obvious to anybody who looks that the star recruit in Croma did not get that treatment. Do you believe that's gamesmanship and that he will be featured quite a bit in this game? Or do you think he's just not there yet and they're being very careful? Where do you see this? Because obviously Williams and Sawchuk and Lucas did get the bold type treatment.
Yeah, I just think that that's the nature of, the way you run a football team, and the fact that those older guys, it's not like any of them are lacking in a big way. I do think they feel like they can run the football with Roydell Williams. I feel like they think Jalen Lucas can be a big-time playmaker. I think they feel like Gavin Sawchuk can be a very good number one running back if they need him to be in this offense. So it's not like there's any big misgivings about those guys and they're just propping them up. They feel good about them. When it goes to Croma, I just think it would be a whole lot to ask that kid to be seen as the workhorse or seen as the number one guy because of who you're playing in the season opener. I will say that everybody I talked to that's been at practices in the last week or two, since he really kind of hit his stride after the first few days, everybody I talk to is like, yeah, I don't know what all their jobs are. I don't know all the responsibilities in pass protection. I can't speak to everything that he's supposed to be doing. But when it comes to taking the football from the quarterback and running as a running back, he looks different from everybody else. So I think they'll work him in early. I think if it looks good, I think he'll play a ton. But it doesn't surprise me you wouldn't put him as the anointed starter on Monday.
Perhaps the most important question, who the hell is Donnie Hebert?
Donnie and AJ Cottrell have been two stars in practices the last few years.
I know AJ Cottrell. I'd have never heard of Donnie Hebert. Who the hell is this Donnie Hebert?
You've seen him on special teams. Listen, man, he's another guy that he's a heady player, kind of a gym rat.
Boy,
kind of scrappy. No, he's a guy that he will hit. I've seen him getting into some scrapes, I think, in practice. Hard-nosed kid.
All right.
I'm a little surprised that they're both on the 2 deep, but listen, man, what I like about that is clearly Tony White has been trying to send a message for how many weeks now, maybe months, about what he wants to see in terms of physicality and effort and toughness, and he's backing it up, and we'll see how it manifests in game time. Now, maybe when you get out there in game, maybe he puts somebody that's a little faster out there or was more highly recruited. But I think the fact that he's going to the wall with this and pushing that those guys have done everything they've asked them to do, and they're on the depth chart. I think again, if the guys that aren't the guys that are behind them that have been on scholarship their whole careers, if they don't get the message now, then they're probably never going to get it.
So you're a busy man for the rest of the day. This is a busy week for everybody involved, but that's especially true for you tonight as the smash occurs. But so does the FSU, the Warchant Town Hall. With the trustees chair, Peter Collins. What are you hoping to get from Peter tonight?
Well, I'm hoping he's going to tell us what conference they're going to.
Thank you. That'd be cool.
Ira, since you asked, let me go.
Yeah.
No, I think it's going to be a good opportunity to kind of put a little bit of closure on the settlement with the ACC, what FSU really got out of that, when they're going to start seeing the fruits of that, the actual money, the increased revenue. Those are things we'll talk about. The renovations, the state of college athletics, how Florida State's handling revenue sharing. They still haven't been super forthcoming with how that's going to break down. So we'll see if he'll talk much about that. Obviously, facilities and the future of college athletics. And we'll see if he'll say anything about the future of Florida State. My guess is he's not going to break any huge news on with us. He's done it before, but we'll see how it goes. But now I'm looking forward to it. I'm just glad he's going to come on with us and me and Tom and talk to the FSU fans. I'm looking forward to listening to it and watching it. I hope that you're able to bait him into telling the ACC to suck it. I think that's a problem. He runs a huge business. He's the head of the entire university. He's likely that I'm going to give him the rope-a-dope and trap him. So we'll see. I appreciate the confidence. Yeah. Be good, brother. I'll talk to you later. Thanks, Jeff. See you, man. Yep. Take care. That's Ira Schoffel, Warchant.com. He'll be with me tomorrow along with Corey for Seminole Headlines. Looking forward to it. See if you can do it, Tom. If Ira won't do it, see if you can get Peter Collins to say, well, that's true, and we did tell the ACC to suck it, and the not-so-ironclad grant of rights.
Well, one could argue that he already did tell the ACC to suck it.
You could, but I want it stated on the record.
Maybe that's the way I preface the question. One could argue you've already done this, Chair Collins.
But would you like the opportunity to verbalize what we know to be true, which is that you indeed told the ACC to suck it?
Yeah, that's right. Maybe I'll pull up a golf stat because you can look up handicaps throughout the state. Like, what's more accurate, your 5.4 index or that we're going to the Big Ten?
Nicely played. Chef Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
News now.
A man was shot and killed Saturday night by deputies, according to the Madison County Sheriff's Office. MCSO was responding to a call about an irate man firing gunshots off Highway 90 in Greenville around 10 p.m. When deputies arrived, the man was still on the porch, pointing the gun in the direction. McLemoreSystems.com.
Now, here's your Tallahassee weather report.
From the ABC 27 First to Know Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jillian Preddy. Highs today, we're starting to see them climb through the 80s, and they will reach the lower 90s throughout the day today. Some scattered showers are possible, but there won't be much today, only about a 30% chance of rain, some heavy downpours, and some rumbles of thunder for some neighborhoods. However, most of us will be getting in on that sunshine today. Overnight tonight, though, temperatures will start to drop to the upper 60s to low 70s. From the ABC 27 First to Know Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jillian Preddy.
I'm Michael Garrison, third generation here at Metal Roofing Sales of Tallahassee. It's a common misunderstanding that a metal roof is more expensive than a traditional shingle roof. At Metal Roofing Sales of Tallahassee, we'll show you how affordable it really can be. A metal roof far exceeds the durability and lifespan of a shingle roof, saving you thousands of dollars over time. Not only do we have the technology to fabricate and produce the best materials, we have the most experienced contractors to install your roof as well. And we will match or beat any other price in tile. Find us online at metalroofingsales.net. You can trust the 3 generations of service under one roof.
Hey, Jeff, what's up, buddy? I was just thinking, they never tell you that when you grow up, one of the things that you'll miss are the games that you created with your friends in the neighborhood. Wow, good days. So I would have my buddy come over, and then we'd make up these games that were kind of like a hodgepodge of every game that you've ever played. Kind of like the bikes we built. Correct, yes. And it's a grand experiment. In the beginning, nobody knows how to play the game, and you argue about what the rules are going to be. And in the end, everybody knows how to play the game. By the end of that summer, you know the rules, the neighborhood know the rules, and you play that game like it's the greatest game ever played. But they still try to break the rules, right? Oh, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. But at the end, Eddie, you're never going to play it again, and you'll think about it the rest of your life. And the best game you ever played was that game. Never been a better one. Hey, you want to have a Gordo Smash, Jeff? I do. I'd like that. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Hey, you, can't you read the sign? It says, keep off the grass. Oh, but I just wanted to feel it. Excuse me? I wanted to feel what it was like to have an amazing lawn like you do. It always looks so good, even in the summertime. How do you do it, neighbor? They're called Lawn Johns. They come once a week. Maybe you should give them a call so you can tell other people to stay off your lawn. How's that sound? Ooh, yes. I would love to tell people to stay off my lawn.
For the very best in lawn care, call the Lawn Johns at 850-322-2567.
Stay off my lawn.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Got a question in the chat that I'll answer here. I just checked during the break to see what I've missed. Adam wants to know why is Sperry listed third if Brock was hurt for much of spring. Well, he's actually technically not listed third. It's the or there that makes that not third. They'll maintain that if there's an or next to somebody's name, they're legitimately just either one of them could be playing.
Toss up, yeah.
So that's, and that would be a nod to the veteran Brock Glenn there, like probably the order in which.
No, the or is a big deal for Sperry. That's a really big deal.
Yeah, I was about to say, it kind of suggests that Sperry had a really good camp. The fact that he would be considered as a freshman to even be an or tells you what they think of where he's at already. Yes, without question.
Got a lot of reps. That was a good thing.
He loves him, man. He loves him. Not surprised, by the way. I brought this up a few weeks back, but a guy who played in this system a year ago for Tony White being behind a player that was here on that god-awful defense a year ago is, I also think, significant. I brought it up last hour. Omar Graham there at the Jack instead of Stephon Thompson is interesting, right? Now, Stephon, who's played in this system and came over with Tony from Nebraska, a lot of people assumed would have a leg up to win that starting job, but he didn't. Now, I'll point out he wasn't all that productive at Nebraska, but good for Omar. I just want to give Omar credit.
The one thing to watch with the Jack position specifically is I think Dominic Robinson called it a joker. It's a jack of all trades position. And whereas the old school standard 3-3-5 has at the second level a bunch of linebackers look the same.
Mm-hmm.
The reason the jack was created in Tony's defense is because he knew that if I just standard lined up and I have 3 linemen and 3 linebackers, that's not going to get it done. We have to have a varied skill set, somebody who is all over the place. That position can have 2 or 3 different body types within the course of the game,
depending on down distance and what they think is going to happen.
I would venture a guess that perhaps Stephon might be out there in short yardage as the jack. We'll see.
I would too, yeah.
But that I don't think that's a static deal where the starter at jack is one dude and Omar's just going to be out there all the time. Just for that position, when they add a 4th man to the front, keep an eye on what number is out there. I don't think it's always going to be Omar, and that's not me trying to take anything away from Omar Graham because I think he's had that legitimate growth that everybody's spoken about. But that position could be a lot of different people adding up over the course of a game.
I don't disagree with that at all. I'm really happy for Ashland Barker, by the way, to win that job at safety. I loved him a couple of years back, and when we'd see him, how physical he is, Tom, we'd get excited, and I thought, man, there's got to be a role for that kid. I thought maybe at some point you just have to keep getting bigger and maybe play some sort of hybrid linebacker-type role, which in this defense you can. So good to see him out there. That hard work has paid off. I like that it's either or with Joseph and Kirkland, which means they both had a good camp. Good. Wouldn't be surprised to see both those guys play a ton. Obviously, you knew that Jerry Wilson was going to be a starter at corner. Interesting to see that Jabril Rawls won the other spot and not Charles Lester III and not Q.
Yeah, Quindarius, that's the surprise for me is that Quindarius didn't take that job because Charles is listed above Quindarius too. So there's a lot of movement for Charles Lester III here in the last 2 or 3 weeks because before camp started, there wasn't a whole lot of summer buzz that said, hey, remember that superstar type level blue chip recruit that you got a couple years ago? He's arrived. There's been none of that language. So good for Charles Lester. That means he had a really good camp, but also good for Rawls because he was the incumbent, if you will, from spring practice. Rawls was considered to be the best corner before Jerry Wilson got on campus, so he held serve and kept the job.
And Arnaud's so young, by the way, he's going to play. I mean, they like him a lot, but he is very young and very emotional, and so they're going to have to monitor that. And you can imagine in a game like this how difficult it'll be for guys to kind of contain their emotions and to be able to handle that.
Speaking of that, caught some of the press conferences, Grubb's press conference at Alabama, the last 2 that he's done. Emotions in check is a talking point around Ty Simpson. And I find that interesting because that is, in this setting, if you're going on the road, first start, a couple of offensive linemen that you might not be expecting to start, a new running back next to you, his composure is going to potentially be a storyline there.
Well, I really, again, go back to this when we talk about ways in which Florida State could spring the upset. Again, knowing, mentally, wrapping your mind around the idea that, first of all, look, it's first game of the year, so you can question to some degree the specificity in terms of the point total and spreads of any game. You can say, well, I mean, this is having a handle on what teams are or are not has never been more difficult than it is in the current landscape of college football with so many transfers on so many teams all across the country. If Vegas is going to get something really wrong, it stands to reason in any given year that it would be early, but it's especially true now where you quite frankly could have an entirely new starting 22 for some teams. Florida State damn near does. Not completely, but damn near does. 18 of the 22 or thereabouts, 19. So if you're going to get something wrong, it would be early. And then if you're going to overvalue with name recognition and, again, early in the season, it would be something like week 1, week 2 of the season. But Alabama is understandably a 13.5-point favorite over Florida State. Make no mistake, this would be a very big upset coming off of 2-10 for Florida State to beat Alabama. But when you're trying to write the script for how it happens, it's that there are some disruptions early centered around some personnel changes that Alabama's had to make, including a new starting quarterback making a road start like this. Maybe emotions aren't in check early. You make a mistake. You get confused by Tony White's defense, which is centered around creating havoc and coming at you from weird angles and getting some one-on-one situations where you get a clear shot on somebody and you turn the ball over. The part about the home field advantage can really only be taken advantage of, and it's far less of a factor in the NFL, but it still is a factor in college football where kids are subject to the whims of emotion, as I like to say, and stadiums you can feel that energy in a way that you don't in a lot of pro stadiums. Plus pros are pros. That's what they are. They've been around the block. They're 30 years old feeding their kids. This is different. These are 18, 19-year-olds in some cases, and they can get overwhelmed. You've got to create some good early. Got to create some good early. It was so funny. We talked about it 2 years ago. Some good things need to happen to this team for us to have success, and then it did happen. And then last year, nothing good happened early, and really it spiraled for lots of reasons that we've documented and talked about at length. But for Florida State to begin to believe again and to feel good about all that they've put into place in this offseason, it could be huge to get an early break, get this crowd going, get them believing, let that energy seep out there to the players, and all of a sudden you got a team playing a little bit over their head with some real belief that they can win, and a Ty Simpson who's not used to being in this position, wondering whether or not, does he begin to see ghosts? Like, that's the hope.
Well, does he not feel the same way that Grubb does? Because that's the sense I get in camp. Some of the problems that they've had, that the offensive coordinator has expressed, is that it's like a backhanded compliment. He was happy that Ty was willing to take what was in front of him, even though sometimes we have some shots down the field, which means somebody's open, cut it loose. You see it, it's there. So if there's doubt or there's indecision and you get that little tension build up between the offensive coordinator and the quarterback, that also can create a little bit of sloppiness, which I think you need this game to be sloppy from the outside perspective. Somebody is nervously waiting for the kickoff between Clemson and LSU. It's a Clemson fan, and they're watching the game. I hope they go to their buddy at halftime. Boy, this is a sloppy game in Tallahassee. That's good news for us. Like, that would be huge.
Well, and I wanted it to quite literally be sloppy. It doesn't look like that's going to happen as we sit a little less than a week out, but I wanted just for it to be a deluge. I wanted rain. I don't want lightning delay, obviously, but I wanted a lot of rain and a muddy field and just a mess. And just let's even things out and see what happens. Get a little lucky, whatever it might be.
It'll be an ornery post game if we have a lightning delay.
Oh, well, yeah, man. I mean,
don't you do it. Don't you put that on me, Ricky
But
Bobby.
this time of year, buddy, you know it goes. Hell, they had a game canceled over the weekend. Football in the South in the summertime basically still is, right? I mean, it happens. Whoever bet on that game, the one that got canceled, because it's considered a no contest, if I could speak. They played 3 quarters. I'd be furious.
What? Really?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see any of that.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
Nobody saw the fourth quarter. I understand that. But
that's we had a game play out that way where they're like, it's done. Can't get it in. It's over. Go home, everybody. Doesn't count for bettors. No, I don't know. We don't need any of that. I'm not trying to put that into the universe. I did want to see kind of a sloppy game. I have no idea, by the way. That's an aside, too. With this late date that they put the turf down, I know everybody got so excited about the end zones and what it was going to look like.
Boy, that was a big to-do this year, wasn't it?
It's really interesting to me. You and I both care deeply about uniform combinations and proper colors for those uniforms. Are they the right kind of garnet or not? Is that the right kind of gold or not? Which of the uniform combos that we like the most? Should they do the non-traditional things and win? We will engage that conversation. It's not like we don't do it. Some people are like, I don't really care. Just wear the one uniform and be done with it. No, we'll do it. End zones, Tom?
It's for that reason I don't judge the person on the end zone that you're speaking on with, helmet combinations with uniforms. Yeah, we'll get in the weeds on that stuff.
We'll get into the weeds on that stuff.
The true garnet, which we don't have, and we still are searching for, even though we once had the answer.
Well, let me ask you a quick question, because I thought of this today when I saw it, so you bring it up.
Mm-hmm.
That released depth chart that we have posted on warchant.com that Florida State presented, right?
Yeah.
Via their social media, right?
Yes. I have it up on the screen.
Okay. Well, that's the right garnet.
I don't think so. I think it's a little on the purple side.
You think it's too purpley? You want a little more reddish?
A little bit more in the
red. A little bit more roan?
Yeah. I mean, like right now, what you're wearing is throwback material that looks more like Iowa State's.
Well, that's because of the yellow. That's because of the gold.
But that's a true kind of cardinalish red too, more than it is.
I'm wearing an old school. Yeah, I'm wearing.
No, I'm not.
How about this garnet?
That's different than the one that's on your shirt.
I know it is different than the one on the
screen.
But do you like this garnet? I like this garnet. Do you like this more than the garnet that's on the screen?
I think so. Yeah,
it's close.
It's close. We could get there together. We could. Maybe I need to talk to the chairman of the board tonight. That he needs to create a commission on True Garnet, and we can have meaningful discussion to arrive at the proper point, which for me means just take that 2012 uniform and 2013 uniform, find whatever color dye that is, and do it. Because those uniforms were perfect.
So the depth chart, Garnet, you're looking at, you're saying, nope, still a little off, too purpley.
Just a little.
It's close, though. I mean, it's really close. That's pretty close.
It's not bad. I've seen worse.
We've been worse.
Hey, at my undergrad, we had legit purple shirts.
Oh, I remember
that period of time.
I remember being furious about it.
Virginia Tech came to town in 2007. It almost looked like the same shirt.
It was ridiculous.
So, but then we corrected it the end part of the last decade, and we were in such good standing. And I know that people get mad about the logo change and the spear change. It was the color change, man. That's what we're all actually mad about, I think. Maybe I'm just speaking for myself.
One of these days, that correct, Garnet. Well, I do like this shirt I'm wearing today, though.
It's outstanding.
It's a good shirt.
How about the look for Iowa State, though, in general?
The Cyclones. The
yeah,
script.
That's good.
See, now you can see the difference of that, Garnet. You think that's too purpley, too?
It's better.
It's close. It's close. Yeah. The 13 team.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
Just duplicate that.
The 13 team. That's where it's at. I agree with you. Final hour live with you. Staying with us. Stay around to talk more Florida State football, more football, and some football. How about that? Hour number 3, forthcoming. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Ain't nothing but a G-Pod, baby.
I am 99% sure that is not how the lyrics go.
Well, you like remixes, right?
Of course.
Well, think of this as a Grassroots Coffee remix per se, because Grassroots Coffee is now in the single-serve coffee pod game.
Dude, those single-serve coffee pods and cups are weak sauce.
Not Grassroots Coffee G-Pods. They have more coffee in them than regular single-serve pods and cups.
Seriously?
And not only do they have more coffee, they have a built-in filter for better brewing. They fit in most Keurig machines, and they are fully compostable.
It's still the small batch, slow roasted coffee you love, so go to grassrootscoffee.com and get your box of G-Pods today.
Baby.
See? Remix.
Well, actually, that's more of an homage.
Grassroots Coffee, locally owned, locally roasted, and made for everyone, loved everywhere.
Grassroots Coffee G-Pods. So very good.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Leaky faucet, busted pipes, clogged toilet? M&L Plumbing is here for you. For all commercial, construction, and residential plumbing issues, call M&L Plumbing at 575-9393 or visit online at mnlplumbing.com.
Craft Nissan has 0% financing for 60 months on Rogue, Murano, and Pathfinder. So RAV4 owners, step up to Rogue for a more spacious and comfortable interior and a smoother ride. With 0% for 60 months, prices lower than last year. For your next SUV, step up to a Craft Nissan.
Hey, you, can't you read the sign? It says, keep off the grass. Oh, but I just wanted to feel it. Excuse me? I wanted to feel what it was like to have an amazing lawn like you do. It always looks so good, even in the summertime. How do you do it, neighbor? They're called Lawn Johns. They come once a week. Maybe you should give them a call so you can tell other people to stay off your lawn. How's that sound? Ooh, yes. I would love to tell people to stay off my lawn.
For the very best in lawn care, call the Lawn Johns at 850-322-2567.
Stay off my lawn.
Tired of watching baseball score updates on your phone? Get off the bench and head to the CP. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill is your home for all MLB games in-state or nationwide. Enjoy the coldest drinks, Tallahassee's best wings, and watch your team in crystal clear comfort. And if you'd like to compete, come by Tuesday nights for CP Trivia and Thursday nights for Beer Bingo, where you can walk home with cold, hard cash. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
WVFD Gretna, Tallahassee. This is Real Talk 93.3. More of the Jeff Cameron Show is coming up next. Your Sports Flash update on Real Talk 93.3 in Tallahassee.
College football game week, it has arrived for Florida State. They are opening up the season with one of the biggest games in college football this weekend as they are set to play host to Alabama. Other games coming up this weekend. Florida, they are going to take on Long Island University on Saturday. Central Florida will actually begin their season on Thursday when they take on Jacksonville State. And Miami, they won't play their first game until Sunday when they take on Notre Dame. Baseball, the Tampa Bay Rays, they knock off the Cardinals yesterday 7-2. They play Cleveland coming up this evening. The Miami Marlins, they get a win against the Blue Jays yesterday 5-3. And now they are set to open up a series against Atlanta tonight. This Sports Flash is presented by Progressive. Bundle auto and home, renters, or condo insurance and save with Progressive. I'm Matt Pauley on Real Talk 93.3.
Moms and dads, do you wish you could know where your kids' shoes are at all times? Now you can with Skechers' newest Apple AirTag compatible sneakers, Find My Skechers. There's a clever hidden AirTag compartment under the shoe's insole. It's sleek, secure, and your child can't feel or see it. Then you can check where your kids' shoes are on the Find My app. Plus, they're available for boys and girls. Get Find My Skechers at Skechers.com, a Skechers store near you, or wherever kids' shoes are sold. Apple AirTags sold separately.
If you need to hire, you know it takes time. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. You simply pick a time and it does all the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates for you. Then you choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day.
Try Zip Intro for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today. Talk to qualified candidates tomorrow.
For most families, your home is your biggest investment. That's why Joel Higgins built ACL Home Inspections, providing you thorough, precise, and efficient information with same-day, easy-to-read digital reports.
Probably one of the most common things that we find is a water heater drain line. It's meant to be plumbed a certain way, and a lot of the times in a retrofit situation where they replace the water heater is a different size. Lots of times they'll say, I had no idea, and it's the home that they live in, and they walk past these things every day. They're not even aware that it's a danger, much less that it's even there.
Protect your family's biggest investment. Call ACL.
Having your HVAC system operating properly is probably the biggest thing for high temperature events. So I always recommend a service agreement with a local HVAC company that will come twice a year and clean and service your HVAC system, and they can spot problems.
Call today, 850-312-8919.
What do you need tires on? Your car or truck, tractor or heavy equipment? At Nice Tire and Auto Service, we have tires for all of these needs. And we service your vehicle from air conditioning and computerized alignment to oil changes and everything else under the hood. Call Nice Tire and Auto today at 574-4100. That's 574-4100 for your scheduled maintenance. National accounts welcome at Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, just west of Capitol Circle.
Did you know that the survivability of a metal roof far exceeds that of a traditional shingle roof? At Metal Roofing Sales of Tallahassee, we have new state-of-the-art roll formers that produce the highest quality Versa panel, PBR panel, and standing seam options. And we will guarantee to match or beat any local competitor's pricing. We're a family-owned business, ready to offer you the best sales and installation service in the area. And don't forget about our veterans and first responders discounts. Call Metal Roofing Sales today, 850-536-9123, or visit us online at metalroofing.net.
Love to compete on the dartboard? Then it's time to head to the CP. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill is Tallahassee's premier dart bar, featuring steel tip boards and soft tip internet play. The Corner Pocket hosts leagues and tournaments regularly. Just check out their social media to find a time that works for you. And in between games, grab a pint and a bite in the cool AC, or enjoy yourself outside on the deck. Whether you want to catch a game or start one of your own, the place to be is the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachie Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
is, and we'll all be there together. Thanks for joining us on the Jeff Cameron Show. On Twitter, it's at @JCameronShow. Hey, let's see here. 3:30 kickoff. You and I live, Hotel Indigo, 12:30 to 1:30, if that's not mistaken.
That is correct. The festivities begin at noon, show 12:30, and we'll hang out after the 1 hour show. So it's a little bit of mix. It's a live show.
How you doing? Catch up. Going with the live show as well.
And probably a beer to calm the nerves after we're done with the live show.
I might have two.
Maybe I'll join you. I'm going in for the first quarter and change, close to the first half.
I'm going in with my pops and my two boys. Well, about that for a season opener. Dad, his grandsons, my sons. I'm a dad. We're all together for Florida State's 30-point win over Alabama. What a memorable day that'll be. Wouldn't that be something?
I'm trying to think. I think the last season opener at home
that you walked into to watch from the stands.
2013.
Good one.
Yeah. That was Jameis with the Houdini act and finding O'Leary in the back of the end zone against, was it like Utah State or something like that?
Somebody terrible, yeah.
Yeah, because we had already been at Pitt and you were at that game.
I was at that game. You were buoyed by the performance at Pitt. You're like, I'm going to see this young man throw a football around.
I've been to fits and starts of games. Obviously, if it's offsite, it's actually easier because we're there covering it. So Dublin, I was obviously at the season opener last year. But yeah, I haven't been at a home opener in, I think it's been 12 years.
Well, I have been to many more frequently than you have in that regard. But that's also because I really am fortunate in that my dad has been 40-plus years a season ticket holder. Ryan points out it was Nevada. He was there. By the way, Nevada, speaking of Nevada, my God, the hard times have hit Nevada. Did you see they are a 44-point underdog this weekend? You want to talk about the hell to the nah team of the week, it's going to be Nevada. I was looking down my betting card. And as I did, because I was flush with cash from having whooped ass over the weekend, winning all of my bets, I thought, we can't start better than this. Let's get to it. And started making more wagers. And I realized Nevada was a 44-point underdog. I believe it's against Penn State. Is that right? Double check that. I don't remember who I saw them playing, but I look, I get it. But 40 Nevada, what happened?
That is correct. It's Penn State.
44. Boy, people love them some Penn State.
They do.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to take the 44, aren't you?
Well, I don't know. Nevada's had a tough go lately.
They are continuing, because everybody cares about this. We spoke about this last segment. They are continuing the painting of the field.
Oh, we'll pull it up. Let's see what it looks like.
The end zones have not been colored in yet. I think it kind of looks cool the way it is right there, though. Look at that.
I know Chris Alt left, Glenn, but good God, they shouldn't fall that far. Oh, is that the ribbon board that's lit up?
Yeah, the brand new.
Yeah, the brand new ribbon board.
That's right. It better be good. But yes, so they've got the white outline on the lettering in the end zones, and they've got the sidelines. Actually, I think that looks kind of cool. Looks like the field is glowing.
Do you believe, Tom, that they would frown upon me after the show today? The show ends today at 4 p.m. If I were to get in my car, drive over, just go stand out there in the middle of the field so that anybody watching on the video feed, I could wave to them, they could wave to me. I'll just stand there at the logo and wave to everybody. You can wave back, and we'll just get the good energy going.
Usually, you and I in history were up over here for the visual. It's up near where the spires are, if you will, the castle tops of the stadium. That's where we were for many, many years, right under the lights right over there.
By the way, once again, at some point here in the not too distant future, yours truly will be right there as well. That will be a lot of fun.
If you want to be in the picture, these days it doesn't update every 10 minutes. For when they were doing the construction, it was 10-minute increments, and now it's every half an hour. So you'd really have to be like an influencer and plan your best pose for 4:30 p.m. this afternoon.
I could do a TikTok dance. Steve, well played. Jeff has the tint of suspicion waiting on Pedo U. Yeah, that's I have not placed the tint of suspicion on Penn State fully the way I do many others. For years, Wisconsin resides in the tent of suspicion. For years, as did UCLA. Now, you can play your way out of the tent of suspicion. Georgia certainly has. For a very long time, Tom, you recall, we would start every season with Georgia having dinner with tent of suspicion annual contender Wisconsin. Those two would share their breakfast together in the tent of suspicion.
Look at that. They got old Rick at number 8.
And we'd go, in the tent you go, buddy. But they played their way out of it. So, I get it. I listen, there's plenty of talent on that Penn State team, and I do look at all the projections for the draft, and I love the NFL, so I'm always searching to see, which of these rosters they're going to be picking players off from, and there's a ton of Penn State players projected very highly. But, those projected NFL draft picks are still being coached by Mr. Franklin. 2 fingers to my eyes, 2 fingers back to James. That's all I'm saying. And how long has that been going on? James tried to give the gift back to SMU. Every possession SMU was handing Penn State the game, and he'd go, oh, no, it can't be that easy for me. Let me do something stupid.
Let's go for it on 4th down in my own territory. With the game over, let's put the game back in the balance. This is boring. It'd be more interesting if we didn't get it, actually. I would like to see how my players respond.
I don't know what to do with prosperity. I gotta definitely do something to liven this thing up. So, it's what bothers you a little bit.
It's entering season 11 at Penn State.
And I don't like that you listen to the descriptors before the season of who's on the hot seat, who isn't. By the way, there's another hot seat list that came out today in the USA Today sports section. Mike was not on it. Rightfully, though, Trent Dilfer was. That said, as they went through the list of coaches, I began to think about coaches, and then I thought to myself, the reason that they don't have James Franklin, and understandably, you would not have James Franklin on the hot seat yet, or at all right now. But they were like, well, having made the playoff, he is no longer under as much scrutiny and pressure as he was. Don't just blanketly throw out there he didn't make a 4-team playoff. He made a 12-team playoff. I'm not doing that with these coaches. When this goes to 16 and you make the playoff, you're not off any damn hot seat because you made a 16-team playoff. It's not the same as a 4-team or a 2-team, obviously.
No, I think the argument is that he won a game
against SMU. Sorry ass. I know. Come on,
that's
man.
More important.
And
than
that
just
kid played like he had never been in temperatures below 88 degrees. He looked frightened of the cold. That was absurd. He was crying before the game. It was ridiculous.
Yes, it was as though also he had never felt his heart beat above 120 beats per minute either, because that's what it looked like. He was like, "What?" It looked
like he was cold in a way that he had never been. I'm like, hey, man, they play football in cold weather. You can't be out there as the warm-ups are happening, just constantly, I can't do it. We're in trouble, guys. I mean, play football.
They did win the subsequent game against Boise State. So he won 2 games.
SMU and Boise. That's a gift.
They took Notre Dame to the mattresses. It was a 3-point game.
They did not. It was not a close game.
It's a 3-point game.
You watched that game. It was not a close game. Stop it. Anyhow, he's not off the list. Still on the list. They had a few guys where we all went, oh, that makes sense. But Mike wasn't on it. But he could be very quickly. You know what's interesting to talk about? Kick around a little bit. It does say a lot, doesn't it? That I think DeBoer is under more pressure to win this game than Mike Norvell. It says a lot about the perspective of the fan bases and the expectations of programs when that's the case.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I don't like it.
You don't like what?
I don't like that that's the case, that Alabama has such a greater and loftier standard by which they hold their coaches to that he's under more pressure to win this game fresh off of winning 9 than Mike is fresh off of winning 2.
Well, I mean, you would not, if you're him, say we're fresh off of winning 9 games. That is...
Of course you wouldn't, because the standard is much higher.
Yeah.
Right.
This is something that I can see too far quicker than you do. In the 20 years I've lived here, we've been even Steven. We've been
right, but it ought not be that way.
But it's a generation of it.
It's absurd. It's absurd where we were, where Jimbo got it back to 29 straight wins, and we're just like, screw it, let's suck for the next decade. No, that's what we got to get back to that, man. Let's go. You got to go.
I want it as much as you do. But when we're speaking on the reality of where we are, I mean, we're acting like we just got done winning 29 straight, And
no, we're acting like we'd like to get back to being a team of consequence.
Yeah,
that we're unranked says an awful lot. That we're not in contention for anything, not even this lowly conference's title.
And the good news is the rhetoric surrounding can Mike be the guy is almost over. Because here it is. It's finally here. So thankful we're going to get answers. And I don't think, and I'm going to hope against hope, that we don't go down that path where we live in the middle. Oh, my goodness. He tripled down.
I can't keep it together. I'm so excited about what this season means and what this game holds that I'm coughing. The random old man cough. It's crazy. Just for being alive, you start coughing.
I'm going to have to get used to that as you approach your 60s now, because on that third one, you approached and squared up to the mic like you were ready, and it was not ready.
It came out of nowhere. I don't know. I think I was trying to suppress a laugh, and then if you do anything out of the norm, you just fall to pieces.
You also hear the trepidation in my voice that I don't want to walk that middle record this year. Don't do it. I swear to God, don't you do it. Because I don't think there is a middle record. You should be fired and you shouldn't be, but don't make it interesting and beat Miami and go 7-5, or beat Florida and go 7-5.
Well, if you beat Miami and go 7-5, you've got two terrible losses somewhere in there.
I agree, but you give the administration something that allows them to kick the buyout can down the road for another year.
They may be doing that anyhow, unless they just are stuck between a rock and a hard place. Like if they go 5-7, they may just be like, "Well, we got to let them go." I mean, this ain't it. we can't do it. But listen, I don't get mired in all that. I'm just saying it bothers me to no end that that's the two expectations. That one guy just won 9 games, and he's under a lot more pressure to win this one than the dude who won 2 freaking games. That's ridiculous. And it ought not be, is all I'm saying. And you agree with that?
I do. And depending upon what you believe about how serious the talks were, the team that rolls into town was looking at both of the head coaches who are manning the sidelines on Saturdays as their successor to Nick Saban. What a difference 16, 17 months makes. It's crazy.
Kurt wants to know, and hour 3 is good for these kinds of things, especially as we're waiting for more games to be under our belt. Director and Jeff, how long do you think Mike, Gus, and Tony have really been preparing for the game plan for Bama? Well, I do think, listen, Kurt, I think they were somewhat hamstrung by the need to teach. Like, you have new systems in place, and I think you're offensively, you could probably prepare a little bit sooner for Alabama than you could if you were Tony teaching on defense.
The thing I'd say about the defense is Tony has been in this situation his whole career as a defensive coordinator. When you're taking on a top 10 opponent, the question is, does he have the horses to handle the task in front of him? That's like Tony's entire defensive coordinator career. Syracuse, Nebraska. Last year when they take on Ohio State, you think they got player for player what Ohio State does? Of course not. So while he might not have game planned specifically looking at Grubb's Washington offense, or I doubt anything from Grubb and the Seattle Seahawks would translate back down to the Alabama part of it. I don't know how much game planning he did for that over the summer, but he's been in this specific set of circumstances so often that I don't think that Tony is ill-prepared for this moment, even if the players didn't understand the system as quickly as he wanted them to understand the system, or buy in at the level that he wanted them to buy in, which I think is an interesting subtext, because when you were talking to Ira last hour and he's saying that message is being sent with names on the 2 deep, that tells me that some kids aren't buying in to what Tony is demanding of them, which is inherently annoying.
Well, yes, but I mean, some of those kids have already been shown the door, and I think will continue to, for lack of a better term, be shown the door. They might not. actually be kicked off the team. But when you're third string and you're a junior who's played a lot or a senior, you've been shown the door. I mean, now you may not have anywhere to go, and you may have waited too long to make that decision, and so you're stuck till the end of this year. So be it. Play out the string on the bench with your sorry ass.
And I appreciate that is leading towards a healthier place, but damn it, man. What is it about your existence in this sport that has told you as a player that you have the right to pout? That's alarming to me.
You've been around it. We've all been around it. We've been in a workplace before where there's a guy or a gal who just doesn't get it. Just doesn't get it.
Oh, we kicked one of them off a team.
And, just doesn't get it. And, you given opportunities, repeated opportunities, because maybe there's a skill set of yours that the company likes and wishes that they could foster and create something, a role for you even. And so much to the chagrin of the other employees, you're like, okay, I see Todd still working here, huh? and you're bothered by it, right? But then at some point, the company's like, I'm off of you. We tried, you got to go.
But it would be akin to a performance review for the ages because we went 2-10, and then also potentially a public call out or two to the point you're thinking of, are you trying to get fired, sir or ma'am?
Yeah.
I will say seeing Lester on the 2 deep is nice. And in his particular instance, it's on a 3 deep, but I was just glad to see that Charles Lester's name checks in touch with somebody who might see the field.
Yeah,
that's good to see.
Lester's going to play. I mean, he's going to get out on the field in this game. And he's got – listen, you can't lose everybody from that secondary class that you were excited about who had real potential and were 4-star blue-chip players. You got to find a way to get something out of these guys. We got to start developing people. I know this is a new defense coordinator and a new offense coordinator, so they get a fresh start. But at some point, can we start developing these kids that we did get yeses from, especially the upper echelon kids that we got yeses from? I mean, that's one area that definitively we can say Mike's done a terrible job of. That's his greatest supporters would tell you, we got to do better. We got to do better. I mean, it starts now. I mean, let's see these guys become something. It's very important because then there's a continuity, and then you can parlay that. You don't have to be so heavy in the portal, and we can start to move from there. That's how you get out of this cloud that we're talking about being under.
And then in terms of the Alabama game for Gus, I mean, Gus's offense is the same. I get that there's an argument out there that maybe Gus at UCF is a little different than Auburn. I'm here to tell you it's not that different. And in fact, it might be identical in a lot of ways.
Well, it's
how it's taught.
Yeah, but he'll use his personnel. Where the highlights are on the personnel, then he'll highlight aspects of what his offense already is for those players who have a chance to make plays.
Right. I'm just saying the base principles. If you go to Gus, if you go to a Gus team and you have day one principle, it's the same for Nick Marshall as it was for Tommy Castellanos. I can tell you that it is. But then specific game planning from there, of course, you might shade one way or the other. But it's not like Gus has 80 pages of, or 80 chapters of plays.
No, he wants to get by with tempo. He wants to expose your defense by playing fast.
Yeah.
And he puts you in conflict, and then he's going to play fast.
It seemed like rather than game planning for Alabama, he was trying to make sure that his guys could go the speed that he needed them to go in the first place.
This is another interesting element about this game is that you're going to play fast, and if you have empty possessions, do you really have a chance to be in this game with this defense being as thin as we think it is against a Bama team that one thing you do know, no matter what their quarterback does or does not do in the way of execution, Bama's going to be big. They're going to be a big, strong team. If you look at the level that they've recruited at, I understand it's dropped off some from when Nick was there in his prime, but it's still an elite level. Go back and look at those classes. Look at even the ones that have left. Look at the amount of kids that have stayed and what they do have. They've got a lot of NFL projected talent on that roster. They're going to be big and strong.
They will be across the board. The question is the noise in the system on offensive line, which would not be a one-year problem for them because recall when they had Bryce Young at quarterback, it was he and Gibbs, and that was it. The receivers had taken a little bit of a turn at that point, but they couldn't block. Like they needed the kid to make magic happen.
And he did a lot.
And the question would be for last year, is it that Ty didn't play because he wasn't better than Milroe, or did they know that they needed Milroe to run in order for them to have a chance?
Well, you and I have talked about this off the record. I mean, not off the record, off the air. You and I just having conversations about this game. The fact that, Milroe was one of their top 2 rushers, you would go, oh, that's interesting. They had a hard time running traditionally.
Yeah.
But But what was tied with that was that Milroe was an inconsistent passer, very inconsistent and inaccurate passer. So he'd have games where he could light you up because when he was accurate, to combo that with his ability to run, you were dead in the water. I mean, you might get blown out, and they did that to some people. Then he'd have games where he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, and defenses quickly went, I'm not worried about our corners being in one-on-one situations with these elite wide receivers because he can't hit them even if they're open. Let's just make sure they don't run the ball on us. So they'd come up and say, I dare you, beat me throwing the football. And he couldn't. There were days that he did, but there were a lot of moments where they couldn't. So I don't know what they are right now because now you got – listen, it's not like Ty Simpson's not an athlete. He is an athlete. He can run. But I've got to guess that they believe he's going to be a much better passer than what they've had, and therefore they'll run the football traditionally and throw off a play action. And, like, if you shut that down, it gets let's see what happens.
Ideally, they do not want him to run as much, even though, and as Grubb said last week to the press, Penix could run too. People didn't realize that about him, which gives you all the clues that you need to know. They don't want to do it unless it's absolutely necessary, or they will do it when you least expect it because they're establishing the traditional aspects of what they want their offense to be. But if Simpson's running a lot in this game, that's because the feedback that the offensive staff is getting from him as a passer is not good, and they're going to plan B.
If they're called runs.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yes. If you're seeing a lot of design runs for Simpson, like beyond the first drive where maybe it's something to keep the defense off balance. If you're seeing series after series, drive after drive, that they're using his legs, that's because the feedback they're getting on him handling coverages and all that other stuff is not good.
Did they give their expected depth chart yet? Besides, I mean, I know Ty Simpson's starting, but did they? Where was Keelan and where was the Austin Mack? Where were the other quarterbacks? Do we know yet?
Oh no, they don't. They have not named a second quarterback.
That's interesting.
That's also interesting. So that tells me by default Simpson was the starter because they don't have an heir apparent. People thought it was going to be a two-man battle with one of the younger kid,
right?
And Simpson, and clearly it isn't because they don't. This is as of last Thursday when DeBoer spoke. They do not have a clear-cut second quarterback. Now, I don't know what today's been too busy here in Tally. I know DeBoer speaks to Alabama media today. He may have already done so.
But, we get a chance. It'll be interesting to listen to what he has to say. A lot more focus on Alabama this week, obviously, given that it's the week of the game. We'll have to hear what he has to say and comment on that tomorrow in the bonus hour after headlines, but also you and I will do it on Wednesday. It's Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Florida man, why are you hobbling around like you got body slammed by a palm tree?
Well, I was boarding the house up for the hurricane, and Hank, my alligator, thought he would help.
Your alligator was helping?
Well, he was holding the ladder with his tail, but a gust of wind hit me like a jet ski at full throttle. Next thing you know, I'm airborne, plywood in hand, landing in the palmettos.
Florida man, have you been keeping up with your chiropractic adjustments?
I fell off track just like I fell off the ladder, and now my spine's more crooked than a pirate's treasure map.
Look, just like you prep your house for a hurricane, you gotta prep your body for the health storms life throws at you. Don't wait till your spine's blowing in the wind. Take action now.
You're right. I'm headed to Finn Chiropractic faster than Hank goes after a marshmallow.
Go to finnchiro.com, FENNCHIRO.com. That's finnchiro.com. Book your appointment now and take advantage of that online special.
I'm headed to Finn Chiropractic boogity boogity. Hank, get out of the cooler. That's for the hurricane party.
Love to compete on the dartboard? Then it's time to head to the CP. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill is Tallahassee's premier dart bar, featuring steel tip boards and soft tip internet play. The Corner Pocket hosts leagues and tournaments regularly. Just check out their social media to find a time that works for you. And in between games, grab a pint and a bite in the cool AC, or enjoy yourself outside on the deck. Whether you want to catch a game or start one of your own, the place to be is the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachie Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Hurricane season is here, and making sure you're ready is key if you need to evacuate. Evacuations typically don't have to be hundreds of miles. Having at least half a tank of gas ensures you can evacuate the necessary tens of miles to a safe, sheltering location when a storm threatens your community. Check with nearby friends and family now and have a plan in place for what to do if you are ordered to evacuate. Visit halfwayfull.halfwaythere.com to learn about more ways to be prepared.
This message is sponsored by the Florida Division of Emergency Management, Florida Association of Broadcasters, and this radio station.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home.
That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-743-8080. That's 1-800-743-8080. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-743-8080. That's 1-800-743-8080.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
This week's Legacy Moment celebrates the Johnson sisters, Clara and Ruth, who opened Johnson's Bakery downtown in 1958. Known for their famous sour cream pound cake and a secret cinnamon roll recipe, the sisters treated customers like family. Every morning before sunrise, they baked, laughed, and prayed together. The bakery closed when Clara passed in 2002, but folks around town still talk about the smell, the kindness, and the memories. The Johnson sisters, flour, family, and forever in our hearts. This has been a Legacy Moment, honoring the lodge that shaped Tallahassee, sponsored by Cornerstone Memorials, helping families honor their loved ones with dignity and care. Find out more online at cornerstonememorials.org. Do you know of a Tallahassee legacy that should be shared? Text the word legacy to 850-386-8255 to submit your story for the Cornerstone Memorials Legacy Moment.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Feels like a Libations Friday, but it's just a Monday, buddy. Man. Okay, I'm ready.
What will be your first beverage on Friday? Will it be a Guinness?
On Friday,
will it be a Paloma?
On Friday, it'll be a Guinness. If we're gonna be at the Corner Pocket, it'll be.
They pour a good Guinness at the CP.
It's also been a bit of a tradition of ours.
Yes.
So yeah, we got to do that. I'll go above and beyond with that.
Oh,
look at my man! I got you, buddy. You weren't ready for it.
No, I'm not. I'm not ready for it.
I'm ready. By the way, you brought up beverage, and our man Matt from Above and Beyond,
he did,
sent us a picture of his garage beer fridge, which we spoke on Friday. What's in my garage fridge from a beer standpoint? And then he said we had a similar setup, and then I blew up the picture he sent us and really analyzed that. Great job on that Cigar City. Some good stuff in there.
That was a well-apportioned, garage beer fridge. I was in the process of, TMI, blowing up other things. And so when I saw that, and I didn't, it was day 6 of annoyingness. But we're on the other side of that now, to the point where I will put a dent in anybody's garage fridge right now.
Because you're ready.
I've had to be.
Well, you've been a saint, yeah.
I've been a saint.
Too much, too long.
No more saintly behavior this week. Let's go.
I started the heavy season a week ago. I have not been a saint. I understood we were entering into the heavy season, and there was no turning back. It really began last week in earnest. I knew that the preseason bets that I had made were going to require me to watch more preseason football than I should have, so had a few pops there. Then, of course, I had the college football bets. Felt good about that. Had a good weekend, but it was one in which the heavy season had begun. We've imbibed. Above and Beyond VR.com. It's where you want to go. Play the sounder, sir.
Above and Beyond.
Above and beyond. Above and beyond.
Above
and beyond.
So go look at this property. Some of you already have. Clearly, you booked it for Labor Day weekend. There's another one available to you right on the water. This is good. Use the promo code JCS, This is no family owned and operated Above and Beyond. This is our Above and Beyond VR.com segment. Beach rental here for you. It is absolutely fantastic. What was this one? $250 a night? That's it?
Under $250 a night.
Use that promo code JCS. You are saving cash.
Friday to Monday, Labor Day weekend. That is prime time.
Look at that grilling set up there. You got your washer. Look at that. Oh, forget about it. So if you're not going to the game, let's say you didn't make your way up or you didn't get tickets and it's sold out for sure. Look at that property. It's right on the water. You just steps from walking out there and jumping in the Gulf. So that's where you want to be if you're not going to be here. And you're especially going to want to be there when you're staying at a beach cottage less than $250 a night.
Mm-hmm.
Forget
also,
about it.
Within walking distance of several wonderful resort bars and beach bars.
Yes.
And King's Pizza, which we'll give another plug to, which was very solid.
Love me some King's Pizza.
So it was very good.
Yeah. So good times. Above and Beyond VR.com. Above and Beyond VR.com. And book yourself a well, you could also stay at one of the other properties too. But anyhow, that one is right now. That's a bargain. That's an unbelievable bargain. And we have to nominate a player since we didn't do that to start the segment like we normally do. And you know where I'm going, given my my love of the sport. Congratulations goes to Tommy Fleetwood, winning on the PGA Tour. He led the field in strokes gained putting. He was simply spectacular. He becomes, by the way, the 27th player in the last 10 years on the PGA Tour to hold a 54-hole lead or co-lead 3+ times in the same season. That's not that many. And so for him to finally convert 24 of the previous 26 converted at least one of those, he hadn't yet. He did yesterday. So there you go, Tommy. Way to get it done. And now that weight is off your back. One of the great guys on the PGA Tour, beloved by all. So good for him.
Remarkably steady performance from him down the stretch. He had the one shot on 15, but he found land. It was a mishit, but it found land. And after that, he was fine, which was great to see for him. I'll go back to somebody you talked about earlier, which is Cal Raleigh. Cal Raleigh is within striking distance of being the greatest, and by greatest, I mean most powerful switch hitter in one season in Major League Baseball history.
It's unbelievable to think about, and we're happy for him.
People talked about the Mick when I was a kid left, and I mean you as well. It preceded your time.
Preceded my time.
But
you say that with such like, hey, it's even preceded your time.
Well, he was a deity when it comes to switch hitting greatness in the history of baseball. And Cal has a chance to break that record and become the best to ever do it while playing a position that doesn't promote a whole lot of consistent power. It's one of the great seasons in Major League Baseball history. That's not an overstatement. Cal Raleigh is doing something amazing.
So your above and beyond player of the weekend was Cal Raleigh. Well done. Mine was Tommy Fleetwood. Well done. I don't want to ever add somebody to a list when you're trying to highlight somebody else. I don't like when that happens, when they're like, oh, this guy won. But by the way, did you see, I don't like to do that, but I'm going to do it. Because Scotty Scheffler did not win, and we had a rare sort of loose swing when it mattered.
Yeah.
A rare loose swing when it mattered. He went in the water.
Some poor putts, too. It's alignment. His alignment's off. That's what that is.
He'll be fine because he's freaking Scotty Scheffler. But, so think about this, Tom. That's the best field in golf, right? And there's all these people that made it to the end, not by accident. He still finished in the top 8. That is for the 14th consecutive time on the PGA Tour that he has finished in the top 8. That is the longest streak since Ben Hogan did it 14 straight times in the 1950s. Hell of a list to be on. It's you and Ben Hogan as the last guys to do it. He also has 21 consecutive rounds. Tom, 21 consecutive rounds in the 60s. It ties the longest streak in PGA Tour history. Okay, have yourself a year. He won 5 times again this year on tour, and back-to-back years of that.
I'm saying this with the letter M, as in McDonald's. Don't muck it up in the Ryder Cup, Scotty, all right? I don't want whatever that weirdness was down the stretch on Saturday with the putter and yesterday with the swing. I'm saying it with the letter M. Do not muck it up at the Ryder Cup. Let's go. Tighten it up, Scotty. Needs to be a little bit better.
Tighten it up.
Tighten it up.
He was still unbelievable.
He didn't even touch land on 15. He went to the
just
drink.
won last week. He just won last week.
He has to be the horse of horses. This better not be. God, Scotty couldn't figure it out until February. He went in that. It was from the Tour Championship to the ride. No.
Let me ask you something.
No, sir.
We got to end this segment. Let me ask you something. So Keegan's got a decision to make.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you have the 6 automatics and the 6 captain picks. We got all that.
Yeah.
To me, just looking at the numbers, and then you know how I am with data golf and all that. And then you do want to look at horses for courses and all that. Under that umbrella and how they're playing currently. If you're Keegan, do you take yourself, or do you, I think, do the right thing and put Sam Burns on this team?
I would leave Colin Morikawa home, and I would
too, but he's in the top 8.
Yeah.
You can't do it. He won't do that because he got screwed a year ago. You can't do that.
Yeah.
But I would too, because Colin's playing terribly, and I would just tell Colin to suck it. But he can't. Would you put Sam Burns on?
Sam's such a good putter,
and he's playing really well.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough because I could argue, stepping outside of myself, if I was Keegan in his shoes, the performances I put together with the distractions I've had has made what I've done even more impressive than what Sam Burns has done. That's what I would argue.
And you would have a right to do that. You'd have a right to argue that. And also, there are plenty of numbers, including rankings, that say you should put yourself in there. Burns' best is better than Keegan's best.
Absolutely.
But you don't know if
you're
going
to go lights out with the flat stick, which is what you need in a Ryder Cup.
Yeah. And he loves this course. I don't know, man.
Or you could tell Cam Young, would he make your cut?
Yeah, he's played great lately. He's been really good.
He is so historically bad at clutch putting. He has a mental block that I would keep. I would take myself over Cam Young if I was Keegan Bradley.
All right.
So maybe I'd give you Burns. Young
but you tell Cam to suck it.
And we all understand that we would want to kick Colin Morikawa out for this event.
That'd be the funny phone call to make.
You're
now,
lucky,
listen,
Colin.
You're lucky because of the good start to the year, and you've somehow righted the ship to varying degrees. But I really don't want to put you on this team. I want Cam Young and Sam Burns on this team along with myself, and I'd have to boot your ass to do it. And I would if I could. But you're lucky. You're not in the conversation. So it's down to you guys. Cam, we both know you hate putting when it matters. Get out of here. Now it's you and me, Sam. And I don't know what to do here. And that would be tough. I don't know what you do.
He could pick himself. I think he should.
I don't want him to. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
2 Tallahassee teenagers were taken into... and was also taken to the Juvenile Assessment Center. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
Now, here's your Tallahassee weather report.
From the ABC 27 First to Know Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jillian Preddy. Highs today, we're starting to see them climb through the 80s, and they will reach the lower 90s throughout the day today. Some scattered showers are possible, but there won't be much today, only about a 30% chance of rain, some heavy downpours, and some rumbles of thunder for some neighborhoods. However, most of us will be getting in on that sunshine today. Overnight tonight, though, temperatures will start to drop to the upper 60s to low 70s. From the ABC 27 First to Know Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jillian Preddy.
Let's be honest, we all have way too much stuff. Maybe your storage closet is full, your garage is full, or the guest bedroom is a mess. Call Southeast Portable Buildings, 580-6400, or visit them online at southeastportablebuildings.com.
Hey, you. Can't you read the sign? It says, keep off the grass.
Oh, but I just wanted to feel it.
Excuse me?
I wanted to feel what it was like to have an amazing lawn like you do. It always looks so good, even in the summertime. How do you do it, neighbor? They're called Lawn Johns. They come once a week. Maybe you should give them a call so you can tell other people to stay off your lawn. How's that sound? Ooh, yes. I would love to tell people to stay off my lawn.
For the very best in lawn care, call the Lawn Johns at 850-322-2567.
Stay off my lawn.
Real Talk 93.3 FM and the Greater Tallahassee Chamber of Commerce proudly welcome this month's newest chamber members. Businesses making a difference right here in our community. American Made Cleaning Maid, LLC. ATC Healthcare Services of Northwest Florida. DSR Public Health Foundation. Levco Technologies. Merchant Management Group. Redemption Orthodontics, Bradfordville. Wilkerson Notary Services, LLC. And Willie Jules Old School Barbecue. Thank you for investing in Tallahassee and growing local with the Greater Tallahassee Chamber of Commerce. Find out more about chamber events and membership at talchamber.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Matt, he's not going to take Harmon. You're not going to have to worry about the human rain delay. Cantlay got him put on the clock again over the weekend, but they were not going to – there's no chance they were going to penalize anybody at the final tournament of the year with those two playing together.
Between Harmon's waggle and Cantlay's feet, we really have something on our hands here. It's amazing.
Cantlay, just everybody he's with gets put on the clock. I'm like, look here, man. We got to do better. We got to do better. Like, it's not hard to enforce.
What is this we thing, you know? That would be my response as his playing partner. What do you mean we're on the clock? Stop this.
Agreed. Yes, yeah, no, it's not hard. Although Cantlay played well for the most part down the stretch.
Hey, the longer he toe tapped, the more he made his putts. He's like, ooh, I'm going to shuffle my feet over here. I don't know. Wait a minute. I think I'm going to shuffle it one more time.
You know the funny thing about Cantlay, though? He's a Ryder Cup MFer.
He is.
He's tough.
Which is,
yes. And he'll bring it on with the crowd and all that. I'm like, okay, you can be on my Ryder Cup team.
Yes, that's great. As somebody who does shuffle his own feet on the green, never for the length that Patrick Cantlay does.
No, I'd talk to you about it if you did.
Yeah.
No, we wouldn't do that.
But
just like you'd have the right to talk to me if I did it.
Well, but he also brings it to the tee box. Yesterday he had about
at some point you got to be like, hey man,
a 35-second shuffle.
You got this much time. Once it's your turn to hit, let's go. You've had all kinds of time to pick your club here. Let's go.
Well, that's the other part too. Look, if you want to race up to the ball and take your time, go ahead. You save time by racing up to the ball and just grabbing the club out of the bag. But if you want to go grab the notebook and then grab a towel, wipe off the grip,
I got no time.
Talk to your caddy, wipe off the face.
No, sir.
Stand behind the ball, line up the club, stand behind the ball. Oh, man.
Step back off the ball, do it again and again and again.
Now, okay, we're ready. Except I need about 40 seconds more to shuffle my feet. Here we go. I'm shuffling my feet.
Cue up that probables music, man. We got baseball to get to. We got a live probables that we haven't been able to do in studio in some time with the bonus hour, power hour. I'm ready to roll with the baseball. There's a large slate, I might add.
You're going to get music just a second after this.
All right.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
3, 2, 1. Oh, Tom's still looking.
Oh, this thing got defaulted.
The jazzy baseball music that you love.
I thought I had till 52. I didn't think I had right at 48.
You find that jazzy baseball music for me, and I'll start slowly with a little Boston and Baltimore. Camden Yards. We're coming down to the end of the year. Here we go. Brennan Bernardino. Hey, you can do it better than I can. Goes for the Red Sox. Tomoyoki Sugano going for the Orioles. There you go. You're about to press play on that jazzy baseball music. I can see it in your eyes. Braves, Marlins, Spencer Strider. Edward Cabrera goes for the Marlins. Rays, Guardians, Ian Seymour, Tanner Bibby. Nats, Yankees, Brad Lord. Hey, everybody. That's Cam Schlittler. Careful. That is Schlittler. Twins, Blue Jays, Joe Ryan, Max Scherzer. We've gone from Schlittler to Scherzer. We all know Scherzer. Golly, Max is 4-2 with a 3.6 since he came back. That's something. Phillies, Mets. How about that bad beat for the Phillies? Wheeler done for the year. To lose your ace with 30 games to go in the season, that's also not a baseball injury. That's a scary thing, man. That bothered me. To read that, blood clots scare the hell out of me. Just as an aside, that's what he's got. Not good. That is Christopher Sanchez going for the Phillies. The Mets are going to throw Kodasenka. Second time, Tom.
Yeah, 4 2/3. Here we go.
You won't even do it anymore. You don't even say his name anymore. You hate him so much.
I'm very disappointed in the last 2 months of his performances, yes.
But even with 2 months worth of poor performances, he's 7-5 with a 2.58. He's just a long reliever.
At the moment.
He's just a long reliever.
Mm-hmm. Well, everybody knows that he doesn't throw the ball in the strike zone, so they just sit and wait.
Stand there and spit
even though
on
the fork ball is good, they're like, well, I've got one strike on me, so you throw one over.
D-backs, Brewers, Eduardo Rodriguez. Brewers, Brandon Woodruff going for them. Royals, White Sox, Noah Cameron. He's got a great name, at least his last name. White Sox are throwing Shane Smith. What are the White Sox? I hadn't thought about this in a while. They have 47 wins. Hurt your feelings. Pirates and Cardinals. Here we go. Don't know if you saw it yesterday. It was Skeens Day, and he shoved 7 shutout innings, 7 Ks, no walks. Suck it. Johan Oviedo going for the Pirates. The Cardinals are going to throw Michael McCreevy. The Angels and the Rangers go Jose Soriano and Jacob deGrom. I take it to beer. Jacob deGrom. I take it to beer. Padres, Mariners, J.P. Sears, Bryce Miller. Tigers, A's, Tariq Skubal. He's very, 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 very good. JT Ginn goes for the A's, and the Reds and the Dodgers, Hunter Green, Emmett Sheehan. That is a look at those that shall reside on the bump. We'll have the jazzy baseball music the next time we do this.
That's right.
It has been banished into the ether. There is no finding it on the internet.
No.
What happened?
Our button board got defaulted to a different day, and it's not where I
can
usually
find it.
have it.
All right. Well, we got to find it. We got to find it because I miss the jazzy. I miss the music.
I do. You'll have it Wednesday.
Well, I might need it tomorrow for the bonus hour.
Oh, well, yeah, I suppose we have it, yes. But you know what I mean, live
in studio, ready to roll. Yeah. Felt good to be here on a Monday talking about the start of the season. We've got to make it to Thursday. Like, now that you've had the taste, now that you know, it's hard to, like, go days in between. Like, that's why you need the NFL to be back and everything to be in full swing. So then when that Thursday gets going, then it's like, oh, we got football on all the damn time. But this Thursday, I'm going to note, I am really, really pumped about the Boise State USF game. Because the show ends on Thursday, 4 o'clock. That game's 5:30, Tom. You're not going to be waiting long. We may, it's, and we've got a nothing game on Saturday. Thursday could be the celebration.
Wait, what? We've got next week?
Yeah,
So the USF boys.
Oh, that's this week.
Yeah, we don't have a nothing game.
Yeah, we got a big game. The following Thursday, there's another good game. I can't remember what it is, but there is. Yes, yeah.
Now the Friday 2-pack is the thing that the 2-pack shacker. I'm very excited about.
Oh, but I thought you were worried about it.
No, I'm
because you got to go home and go to bed early and all that.
Oh, no. I just need to be out of the CP by the end of the first quarter.
Okay.
That's my concern.
Okay.
If I'm there for the second quarter of the 8 p.m. games, that really throws off productivity on Saturday. So we need to be very careful.
You mean the Georgia Tech Colorado game?
Yes.
The 8 p.m. Georgia Tech Colorado game.
As well as Auburn Baylor. Yeah.
They're on simultaneously. One's on Fox, one's on ESPN.
That's
you are
a great
correct.
2-packer right there.
That is a 2-packer. They're all worth kind of,
I just don't understand why we can't do that on Sunday of Labor Day weekend. We have yet to get strong on Sunday with college football Labor Day weekend, and that needs to be better. Miami, Notre Dame, awesome on a Sunday night. Looking forward to that.
Huge.
How do we not have a triple header on a Sunday when there's no NFL?
So Thursday, August, that's what I was going for. This Thursday is Boise State, South Florida at 5:30. Then there's a bunch of other games because they're games you're going to watch. I mean, you'll watch East Carolina, NC State at 7.
Hell yeah.
You're going to watch it. ACC Network. You'll tune in.
What a channel.
Little Wyoming, Akron.
That would be your department if anybody.
Yeah, I tried. Oh, but I know you will at 9 o'clock. Little Nebraska, Cincinnati. What are we doing here, kiddos?
All right.
That's on regular ESPN. Let's get it on.
It's a whole lot of red on that field.
Oh, man, Thursday, we're going to be up late. We're going to shake it off on Friday.
All right. Is there anything else on Thursday? I was hoping maybe there was some kind of Oregon State versus Cal Poly.
No. There's you've got Delaware State, Delaware, Wyoming, Akron, as I mentioned. You got Central Arkansas, Mizzou, Elon and Duke. No
Western Kentucky, my new favorite team.
No Western Kentucky on that day.
Georgia Southern, Fresno. That's next week. Georgia Southern plays USC on a Thursday.
Well, and after we just saw Fresno, I don't need to see them anymore. They suck. Miami of Ohio at Wisconsin. There was a time.
All right.
There was a time.
Wisconsin,
and early in the year, you'll do that.
Wisconsin has a little bit of Virginia-ness to it, with Richmond and Virginia and the Spiders.
I like the Spiders.
They'd be up by 3 in the fourth quarter. You're like, oh gosh, the Spiders are doing it again.
Yeah, the Friday though, you get your rest on, and then that Friday you do have Auburn and Baylor, as you said, and you do have Georgia Tech and Colorado. So it's all happening. Golly, Tennessee's a massive favorite over Syracuse. Okay, Syracuse is going to fall off a cliff this year, apparently.
Well, also, it's addition by subtraction. No more Nico and no more Lewis Riddick apologizing for Nico's existence.
And we like Lewis, but that was weird.
It was weird. So you're going to get the kid from Appy State?
I didn't like that about him. I don't know why why did he do that? I like Lewis.
I think that's where the quarterback came from, Appy State.
He might have been friends with his dad or something. That was just strange to me. Could be. What are you prattling on for? There's no reason for it.
No, you didn't see it on this play, but he really has a cannon. I'm like, what is this channel?
I'm going to double check the line just for now. I think on principle, I'm going to have to take that Nevada plus 44. Let me double check, but I mean, they're supposed to be the worst team in Division I. Good work out of you. Good to be back. Busy night. The Smash, the Town Hall, all of it.
2 hours time.
Talk to you tomorrow on Seminole Headlines and the bonus hour. Till then, peace.